Thank you, JP Paulin. Item 3 is adoption of the agenda. I move that we rearrange the agenda. I'd like to do items 11, 12, and 13 in front of item 6, which is basically taking the studio and doing that first. So I have a motion by myself, a second by JP Lemming, sorry. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to see if the applicant was okay with that.
The studio applicant?
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
They're fine? Okay, that's good.
I mean, it's, you look at the communication we had over the last several weeks,
Yes.
and I think the studio is going to go quicker. So let's let them come in, do theirs, and they can move on, and then we can take whatever we need for the next one.
Okay, I just want to make sure they had everybody here they needed, but thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's good.
So, motion by myself to move 11, 12, and 13 before 6. Seconded by JP Lemming. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so we'll make that. I'll entertain a motion to approve the modified agenda. So moved. Second. So I have a motion by JP Lemming to approve the modified agenda, seconded by JP Lopez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The agenda's been adopted. Do I have preliminary motions?
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion that we read all ordinances and resolutions by title only.
So I have a motion by JP Dean to read all ordinances and resolutions by title only, seconded by JP Stafford. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That motion passes. Next, we have citizens' comments.
You announced that everybody needs to speak. There's a lot of people outside.
Yeah.
The only way they can hear is if people are
Okay. So the comment here is there's a lot of people outside, so when you come up to the mic, make sure you're adjust it for yourself and speak into the mic so that we can have, everybody can hear what's going on, and it will go out over the YouTube recording and that type of thing. All right? So we have citizens comment, and so just so everybody realizes, when we go through, can we talk about process? Sure. So when we go through the process of the appeals, we'll go through and have the discussion of the appeal. We can, Director Addick can provide us a staff report, the applicant can provide what they're doing and their information, and then we'll have specific to that appeal, citizens can come up and make their comments. So I'm just trying to differentiate, there is a time coming up specific to the appeal. This is more generic citizen comments across the board. You're more than welcome to come up and have them too, but you're gonna have another chance. Let's want to make sure everybody understands what's coming down the road, okay? But we are at citizen comment, 15-minute total, 3-minute limit for each individual. If you have a comment, come up to the mic, state your name and address. Okay, cool, we'll move on. Okay, come on, sorry. You have the time, okay.
My name is Tracy Hall. My address is 4183 Quicksilver Lane, Springdale, Arkansas. I've been a resident of Northwest Arkansas and Washington County for 26 years. I lived at our current address since 2007. My comment is generally about home-based businesses, and I may come later and speak more specifically to the appeal for HS Studios. My connection to HS Studios is years ago, my daughter was a violinist taking lessons with Miss Holly at her house. My other connection to this is I'm a piano teacher. I teach piano lessons out of my home, have always taught piano lessons out of my home. Most every piano teacher who I know and all of the guilds that I'm a part of teach piano lessons out of their homes. Most violin teachers, cello teachers, teach lessons out of their homes. Home-based businesses, especially for teaching music, have been around ever since instruments have been around. They've been taught out of people's homes. There was a comment that was made as I read through, saying that Miss Smarto was not aware that she had to apply for a permit. Well, I'm a part of that class too. I had no idea that I have to apply for a permit to teach music lessons out of my home. My neighbors don't mind me teaching music lessons out of my home. As a matter of fact, I teach some of my neighbors' children and grandchildren out of my home. It's what is done, it's what has been done for as well since instruments began. So when Holly let us know that she was being required to apply for a permit to teach lessons out of her home, I was shocked and dismayed and thought, wait, what? Why do we have to do that? Do I have to do that? Do we all have to do that? And if so, why? When we've been teaching lessons out of our homes for a very, and I thought about my friends who have Pampered Chef consultants businesses and Usborne Book consultant businesses where they have parties that meet at their home, where they work with people in their homes. So as I read more about this, I discovered that the state of Arkansas loves home-based businesses. As a matter of fact, there's a Arkansas State Statute 14-1-106 that is written in support of home-based businesses. Home-based businesses are not something that the state of Arkansas says, well, I think that maybe we should decide if we think you should do this or not do this. It's almost a foregone conclusion that if you have a residence and you're a person and you want to run a business and can from your home, that you will. And it's encouraged that you do that. It's encouraged that you run home-based businesses because they're a big part of the economy and a big part of the community. Miss Holly's got tons of students and parents out here who can.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Okay, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time.
Any additional citizen comment at this time? If you want to comment, you can line up. That way we can make it through quicker.
Good evening. My name's Calvin Tackett. I live at 565 Hale Road, Goshen, Arkansas. I've lived in Washington County my entire life, and I'm very proud of it. We've had such a wonderful opportunity for our children to enjoy the services that Miss Holly provides. She's resided at this address for over 20 years, is my understanding, with nothing but support from her entire community and neighborhood. And I can see why. I mean, given this opportunity, she's helped provide our children with confidence, discipline, character, and up until this point, there's been no issue throughout the entire community or neighborhood, and I just couldn't imagine it any other way, and we're so grateful for her. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time? Come on up.
I have a petition of support from the subdivision. Okay. Good evening, members. My name's Sue Williams. I live at 2464 North Fox Trail, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I'm a resident and the vice president of the POA board of Fox Run. I do not understand why 2316, as I like to refer him to directly, is due to the fact that he has requested not to be included in our neighborhood resident directory or be a part of the GroupMe. Fine. Where am I at? Such as, so we have a resident GroupMe that we use to inform the residents, like, are the roads safe to drive on? That kind of thing. Such as, like, we're burning some brush, so don't be alarmed if you see some smoke, which I would like to be put on the record that 2316 did, and so someone called 911 to report the fire. If only he had wanted to be included in our GroupMe and had notified everyone in the neighborhood, this could have been prevented. I'm not even sure what his real name is. The secrecy he wants and is demanding has alienated him and his family. And as a board member, I'm usually the person they call when a house sells in our subdivision, so I can send them a copy of our bylaws and covenants and our very unique sewer system. But I did not get that call for this property. For almost a year, I didn't even know that someone bought that house and had moved in. I only found out because of this lawsuit. Okay, so 2316 wants to be so private and uninvolved with the residents, but has, oh wait, I've already read that. So So I live on top of the mountain, so I see and hear all the traffic every day. I have deliveries come to my house 3 or 4 times a day. So I do not understand the pettiness of the resident at 2316. I see more traffic than most of the residents because I live at the beginning of the street, and the noise of the cars passing in and out of our neighborhood does not affect me at all whatsoever. I cannot control the traffic on our street, nor would I want to. Holly and Buzz Smarto have been and still are a very considerate and kind neighbor throughout the past 20 years that we have been here. And in all those years, I have never felt unsafe in my neighborhood. But now I feel that 2316 has broken that feeling of safety for our household. When 2316 pulled a gun out at Buzz in broad daylight, made this an unsafe environment for them and for the rest of the neighborhood. I also run a home-based business, and I would be very upset if someone told me I could not do that. That's how I make a living and support my family. I have my family and friends come over to my house all the time. I have parties at my house 3 to 4 times a year, consisting of 30 to 40,
Ma'am, your
50
time is
people.
up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other citizen comment at this time?
Hi, this is this is Sam. He is Holly's student. He has been taking violin lesson from Holly for almost 3 years. I'm a professor at the university, and I teach 3 classes at the university. I would say Holly put me to shame in terms of how much she cares about her students. It's just Sam benefits so much. Sam is very super active kid. He is being very not hurt himself. He's being shy now, but he is really active. And learning violin really teach him a lot of things about life, and he really enjoy music. I just feel if Holly is not given the opportunity, it's a big loss to lots of families. And I'm hoping Sam can take lessons from Holly for the next 10 years, because you'll be so good for him in so many different ways. I also want, we also sent a letter in the April 30th public hearing. One neighbor mentioned that he has been living in the neighborhood for 20 years. He didn't even know there was someone teaching violin in the neighborhood because there's never like disturbance to the neighborhood. So that's, and we as parents, we want to minimize the negative impacts on the neighborhood. So we're willing to do things because this violin lesson is so valuable to us. Thank you for consideration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. My name is Qiu Chong Huang. Yeah. Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Redding. I live at 506 North 16th Street. It's actually in Van Buren, Arkansas. I drove all the way up here to be here to support Ms. Smarto. I just want to kind of reiterate what Ms. Tracy said about the right to have a home-based business. Maybe some of you guys have a home-based business as well. Not only is it a state statute, but also it's something that the IRS likes to have, because as an electrician, I get to have write-offs because I have a home-based business, whether it be an office or whether it be a warehouse or whatever it may be. I get to have that right to do that. And I just want to say, and I don't want to take up much of your time, but I just want to say I really enjoy what Mr. Pond, when he prayed, what he said that we should protect, and that is our inalienable rights. And so we all get that freedom. We get the freedom to appeal. We get the freedom to say that we don't like something or that we do like something. But the fact of the matter is what's best for the people. And you guys know as well as I do, there's no issues here. But I do want to reiterate, the home-based business is what made not only America, but it's what makes us stronger as people, because we get to work together, and we can do that from our home. Most people make their money, like they said earlier, from that. And so, but it is something that the IRS as well gets to let us have a benefit of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Deanna Backer. My daughter is Annabella Backer, and she is a student of Holly Smarto's for the last 2
Can you move
years.
that mic up a little bit, please?
Sure. I'm
won't work.
actually, is that better? Okay,
There
thank
you
you.
go, thank you.
I'm a resident of Gravette, Arkansas. I have a business in Bentonville, Arkansas, and we travel down, an hour to see Miss Holly Smarto. Holly Smarto. And my daughter started 2 years ago, and it has changed the trajectory of her life. She is not the same person she was 2 years ago. And it's not just about the violin. It's been, therapy for her. She has drive and ambition and a love and a wonderful relationship with her teacher, Mrs. Smarto. We know that she has asked all of us, all of her students, to respect the neighbors, to make sure that we travel slowly down the road. And I know that she's very respectful. She's very professional. She has also, the one time that we actually walked outside to practice, I think it was 5 minutes, and there was one of the group lessons, and we just stepped out for two players to practice together a duet, and then rejoined the rest of the group. So that was the only time in the last 2 years that we've ever stepped outside. The noise has never been an issue from my understanding. And so I really appreciate you listening to us tonight and for considering this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments?
Good evening, members of the court. My name is Nathan Ma. I'm a current rising college freshman, and it's just undeniable for me to say the impact that Miss Holly has had on me. Me personally, I've been taking lessons from her for the past 13 years, and looking back, I think it's really remarkable the impact that she's had on me since when I first started taking lessons from her when I was 5 years old. She taught me discipline, how to manage my emotions. At one point, I was so fed up with the violin, but every week, Miss Holly would work with me, keep me disciplined, encourage me, and was just there for me for every single week for the past 13 years. So in my experience, I am so indebted to Miss Holly. And on the topic of the noise complaint, there have been numerous times, and I'd say almost every time I've walked into Miss Holly's studio, parked in her, the area outside her house, and walked in unknowingly, not knowing there was a student there, and kind of made a racket, almost disturbed their lesson. So to all the members of the court, this is just my experience that I'm sharing with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Leonardo Zhang, and I'm also in the same shoes as Nathan Ma. Music has been such a big part of my life. I've taken lessons from upwards of 5 teachers, and from all of them, they've taught from their houses. And because of them, I've been able to have so many opportunities I wouldn't have without music. So I'm forever grateful for teachers teaching from their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that is the end of the 15 minutes for now. Again, if you're talking about the appeals we're doing, you guys will have a chance as we go through that process, okay? So your chance will be there. So the next that we go then is we move on to the appeal hearing discussion for the, thank you, just studio, I'm sorry. I want to start with Dr. Ada. Can you give us your staff report? Oh.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing great. Awesome. Okay. The CUP project was approved on April 30th. 5 members attended. It was basically approved unanimously. An appeal was filed by Evergreen Revocable Trust on May 7th to overturn the planning board's CUP approval, and reasons like behind this is like mentioned on the screen. We tried, the applicant or the appellant like made sure like that, like his name is not available anywhere, so we used, like he used his property name, and like we had to go by that. So this is the vicinity map showing like the overall like project's location. This is the site map of the location, and this is the map showing the neighbors that being notified. Oh, you don't see it? Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, getting used to this because we don't have a screen. So this is the appeal that's being filed, 2026 number 14. This is the vicinity map. This is the location zoomed in. And this is a map showing the neighbors that being notified. All right. There you go. So the CUP notification, eight notifications were mailed by the applicant at the time when we received the CUP application. Staff received up to the planning board meeting, one neighbor like opposing the CUP, citing increased traffic along the easement during recitals. One letter in support along with like 20 petitions signed citing a beneficial like impact on the community. During the CUP appeal notification, the appellant and his representative like sent the same 8 neighbors like the notification notifying them about like this project and this hearing tonight. Yeah. So the applicant is requesting a CUP to instruct violin lessons and host like recitals for their like from their residence. So it's basically a home-based residence. While the applicant was like initially unaware that a CUP was required, they are now actively at the time working to comply with all county ordinances and regulations. The subject property is 5 acres. And it's accessed via like shared easement from North Fox Trail, Washington County 2022. Lessons are like by appointment only, Monday through Friday, between 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., with recitals occurring 2 to 3 times a year on weekends, afternoons. The applicant is the sole employee and instructor, and also she is with her husband, like the owners of the property. All students are accompanied by like their parents or guardians, and age ranges like from like 4 to 16 years old. Approximately 20 to 24 students are enrolled in weekly private lessons, with an additional 19 students attending group lessons on Mondays. Lessons duration varies between like 30 to 60 minutes. All lessons like and recitals are conducted indoors without the use of amplification outdoors. Oh, we jumped too far. The existing residence is approximately 6,500 square foot and is equipped with all utilities and a septic system. The site includes concrete parking for approximately 8 vehicles, including ADA compliant spaces, as well as additional gravel parking areas accommodating up to 42 vehicles. No outdoor lighting or signage currently exists on the proposed, or even proposed like for the future. Okay, bear with me, this is like an old like image, but this is what we have. So to the right, you can see the subdivision, the platted subdivision that's being approved. At the time, this location was in Fayetteville planning area. So that like subdivision was approved by the city, the county, all the engineers signed on it, and the county judge. And it was approved in, plat was like submitted in like November 23rd, 1983. So to the left, we put like an overlay of the location of the property showing the driveway and the zoomed in map of the subdivision. If you can see like that yellow line, it's basically, that is the driveway that is being approved when that subdivision was platted. You can see there is a cul-de-sac, the street comes from the left, cul-de-sac, and there is like north and south. And that was by design by the city of Fayetteville for future expansion. So that driveway was existing when that subdivision was approved. To the north, along the way, those two yellow dots, I believe it's 25 and 24, lots 25, 24, they were like replatted, so the subdivision was replatted multiple times. At that time, the driveway did not change, but it's been shifted, and that's where like the blue line is being used. If you see the aerial imagery on like our website, you will see like the driveway has been used like for years. So, I mean, it's been there like, and it's been platted with the subdivision. And these are like the conditions we have, and the one in yellow just like emphasizes that like the timing that like the applicant asked for is going to be Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And exactly, we put like no outdoors amplified music for that reason. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Atta? JP Massengale, or JP Leckie, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Atta, I'm still not understanding why she was required to apply for a CUP. That has not been.
We've had lots of like home-based businesses like applying for CUPs based on the complaints we received from the neighbors. So we asked them like to be in compliance with our code. I know the state code, like they have like a statute that said it has to be by right. We tried to do this like during the modification and like, or updating our like code, and we had like home businesses, like daycares, like facilities, like such as like police and like fire department by right, but nobody approved it. So I have, with my team, we have to stick to whatever like we have as a code.
Okay.
And so when someone complains, the only thing we have is asking for a conditional use permit. Just keep in mind, and that's for the public as well, the entire county is zoned as single agricultural use or single family residence, 1 house per acre. Any development exceeds 1 acre requires a large scale. So basically we have one zone. Any other uses requires a conditional use.
I
So
understand that.
and that's why
Certainly.
we're here.
How many people, individuals or neighbors complained?
One person.
One person,
I would say like two, like wife and a husband, like so,
but one household.
I mean,
One
one
household
household, yes ma'am.
changes all this dynamics for this individual.
We have to follow our regulations.
I know, and those are our regulations. I just wanted to be clear, in my understanding, the way I read everything, I saw that it was just one complaint.
Yes ma'am.
And their complaint was the noise, or,
The driveway access, drivability of that, like driveway.
the
and
drivability, do
noise,
they
yeah.
use that driveway?
Yeah, they have to, that's the only. That's the only thing they have, like, from our understanding, that's the only thing they have, like, to access their property. Like, other way, we could not find anywhere else that they can access their property.
And there's so much traffic up and down that road that they can't access that road.
Well, like, they are using, the complaint is like there are too many students are using this to get to her house.
Too many,
Too many.
but they didn't specify how many.
I mean, even if they specify, like, it's a platted subdivision and it's approved by the county, so like, it's a public road, they cannot tell anyone
Okay.
not to use it.
No, I understand, and I'm not being obstinate or
Yeah, I mean, just-
argumentative or difficult. I'm just trying to this seems nonsensical to me. And I'm trying to make sense of something that is nonsensical,
Yep.
and I can't reconcile it. And
Yeah.
and you're the man that I go to for understanding, because you see this differently, and I appreciate that and I value that. And I want the public to know it's not you and it's not us. These are regulations that we have to follow.
Yeah, we have an
But
ordinance we have to follow, yeah.
It's that one neighbor that wants to change everything for everybody, basically.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has the right, like, to
And
apply,
they have a
everyone has the
right.
right to appeal.
Sure. So thank you for clarifying that.
Absolutely.
I'm done, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you.
You want me to?
Yeah, you want to address that?
So I want to address the legal issues, and I think Director Ada hit on it. The chair's requested this. Yes, you have an ordinance that requires anything that's not a single-family residence or an agricultural use of the property requires a permit, a conditional use permit. The proposed change to this that was submitted to all of you and ultimately did not pass would have given instances like this one a right of use. A home-based business would have been allowed as a matter of right. And so we probably wouldn't be sitting, or we would not be sitting here. The law does not state that it is a matter of right. What the legislature went in and said that yes, they think home-based businesses are very important, and they kind of made it easier for home-based businesses. But specifically, the law says, notwithstanding any other law, the local government may license or regulate home-based work if the home-based work is not prohibited. You can't sell drugs out of your house, that's prohibited, and shall only be restricted to the following, and it lists 8 areas: advertisements, signs, or other exterior evidence that a residence is being used for any purpose other than a residence. So the quorum court has the right to regulate the signs outside of a home-based business. The quorum court has the right to regulate nuisances, including without limitation odor, excessive dust, smoke, vibration, noise, light, heat, glare, or similar disturbances. Health, fire, and safety codes, traffic, parking, building, and maintenance codes, protections for children, and the elderly, and the infirm, limitations on the number of employees, customers, and tenants at the residence, prohibitions or limitations related to public health, safety, and welfare, and licenses and regulations that apply to businesses without regard to location. Those are the only 8 things that can be regulated by the county, is what is listed there. So I just want to put that out. Yeah, I think the legislature, clearly their intent was to make it easier, but it didn't say that you could not regulate it. Now, just because it says that doesn't mean it's the right thing to do, but I'm just letting you know, this issue came up. There was a request from the applicant to have an injunction issued, basically asking the court to say, hey, you guys can't even consider this tonight, and the court disagreed and did not issue the injunction. And so we can do that, and under our current statutory scheme that we use for planning, home-based businesses are required to get conditional use permits. I just wanted to make sure that all of you understood where we are legally on that.
Question for the counselor? JP Aki?
I don't want to jump in front of the others. You said they filed an injunction, but the court, which court ruled that they wouldn't dismiss it?
The
Ours?
circuit court,
The
yes.
circuit court.
They requested an emergency injunction and temporary restraining order, and the court denied their request.
From the person opposing,
No, from the applicant.
from the applicant.
Right, the court felt like the law says that this body can issue a CUP for this home-based business, but you can only regulate these 8 things. These 8 items, areas, are the only thing that we as the county can regulate on a home-based business.
So the appeal is they shouldn't even have to apply for one? Or the appeal is, what is exactly the appeal?
A neighbor appealed the
That
conditional
they-
use permit
That the planning
that the planning
board
board recommended
recommended.
approval for. Right.
Okay,
I'm just saying that the court agreed that this body can issue a conditional use permit, but is limited in scope in the things it can regulate. I would say that I think the intent here is that these businesses be allowed to move forward with only these 8 things being regulated.
thank you for clarifying, and I apologize to my colleagues for cutting the line. Thank you.
JP Massengill?
Yes, Brian, thanks for your comments, and that leads into a comment I wanted to make, is I really think we need to revisit this by right rules to allow more flexibility within the county for home-based businesses. I agree that, I mean, I think just about everybody's got a home-based business that needs to be allowed to operate within limits. So the question is always, what are those limits? What is that line that you cross where you are no longer, just a home-based business, but I don't know, commercial business of some sort. But I really think we need to relook at that and look at adding that back into our ordinances. The other things I had was a question for Director Added. I mean, I'm looking through these restrictions. It looks like, my understanding of this business is they see a few students during the week, and then maybe 2 or 3 times a year they'll have recital. Looks like, 30, maybe 19 students or something. To me, that doesn't seem like a very intrusive event. But when I look at all these things that are listed here, that they're going to have to, I don't know if there's a lot of things listed here. I don't know what's going to impact them. Are they going to have to repave the road and put fire systems in? Is that what we're talking about here, or?
Thank you. So conditions like 1 to 5, it's standards. We put this like on almost every conditions. Same as like number 9 to 12. No, normally like number 8, provide like reasonable screening to neighboring properties. We have this also like inside the text of the staff report that says like if it's desired. And the reason we put this because like lots of people, they come to us and after a while they might have that like property like turned into a subdivision or turned into like a location that has covenants. So just in case for future like use, if any expansion, if any changes, we already like covered all the bases. Number 6 and 7, it's specifically to this project. That's exactly the time the applicant requested, and that's what she said, like she's gonna be teaching and how many times a year. And we added number 7 just to make sure like it does not hurt anyone from the neighbors and become nuisance. However, like almost everyone knows that quiet times is between 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. and everyone should like follow this. And like I live in a city and I know like nobody like follows this, but you cannot complain every day.
Okay, so my question is, are they gonna have to spend money doing anything other to modifying their property in order to continue to do what they're doing?
They might need like if this animosity between them and the neighbors continues, they might like maybe build a fence or like put like some shrubs or like trees or something like that just for privacy. The roads should be, like from my understanding, it's a subdivision that's been accepted by the county, and I cannot speak for the road department. I don't know who maintains it, but like they have HOA, and the latest latest covenants was approved in 2000. Was it 2021? I give you a copy, ma'am.
The covenants.
So the covenants, I guess, like latest is 2021. So they should at least have someone who's managing all of this. If not, I guess they can contact the road department and make sure. Like during the when we did like the CUP staff report and the technical review, we requested feedback from the road department, and they had no concern about this location. So.
Okay, so what you're saying is there's really no significant modifications they've got to make to their property?
I don't believe, like, they live in that house, they've been living there for like 20 plus years,
Okay.
unless if they need to do any modification. The only request, it was by the health department because the septic has not been like inspected in like few years, and for them, it's the judge standard, they go say, go ahead like and make sure like to inspect, send an inspector to do a welfare check on like your septic system, and they already did, and they provided the information. So to the health department, and that's like number 5. You have to adhere to all like other like requests by their technical reviewers, basically.
Okay. Another question I have is, I notice it says in here, no outdoor amplified music.
Yep.
Does that preclude them from having a private party and having amplified music?
Well, as I said, like you need to be like mindful of like the neighbors, like and what they like, what you might not. Quiet hours between 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. Across the board, I guess, standard. So you might have like a party, but like you're not supposed to. If it becomes nuisance, the neighbors can always call the sheriff's office or the police department based on their jurisdiction. I cannot go and tell someone like you cannot have like a party or like have fun.
Right.
Because your neighbor like doesn't want to hear like that type of music, you know, like it will never end then.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're in the middle of a neighbor dispute here, and I'd hate to put a bunch of stuff out there on these people that is unnecessary that could be used against them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess when the applicant comes up and talks, I'd like to get a feel for how they feel about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
JP Lopez.
Thank you, Chair. Director Atta, I think my questions are for you. As I understand it, the planning conditions, and this might be like a personal indulgence here, because I want to better understand it, but something like a screening restriction, that could already be met with tree canopy, correct? If I'm not
Yes.
mistaken?
Yeah, I mean, like, inside the staff report, if you read the staff report, we have a screening section that it says like a minimum of, you can use like picket, like wooden fence at like a minimum of 6 feet, or you can use masonry, you can use brick, you can use trees, shrubs, anything that like create that privacy. And that privacy also, like sometimes, especially trees, like will like reduce the amount of sound if there is any.
Right.
But it's not like that you have to unless if you have to. Most subdivisions, for instance, they will require you to have like a fence around like your, unless if they have covenants. And I believe that subdivision requires you to have a fence. And if you zoom into that like aerial imagery, you don't see any. So I'm once again, I don't live there. I cannot enforce the HOA. So
That's right. Yeah, and again, I would also like to say that I do think that, you know, by right home businesses are probably a good thing, that we shouldn't get too in the weeds of, you know, stopping people, encumbering people to do these things, but there are considerations that we have to have for things like screening, you know, any sort of business that has an outdoor storage component, even if it's a cottage business, that could be deemed to be an eyesore. So absolutely all for this personally, but as we get to consider those future questions, there are things that we have to consider around certain businesses, even as we discuss that, right? Thank you.
JP Rio Stafford.
Thank you, Chair. I have about 3 questions. The first one, maybe for Mr. Lester, maybe for Dr. Atta. When we passed our big planning and zoning update last year and we took out the commercial zoning part of it, as we've heard, the exception for home-based businesses by right was embedded in that. It sounds like, you know, and I'd love to bring this forward as just a standalone amendment to bring that back. How hard would it be for us to sort of excerpt that out of the part that was originally written? Was it so deeply embedded into the commercial zoning that it would be difficult to do that, or can it be sort of surgically passed?
That section, which was section, I believe, 5, we basically removed from the overhaul and put the old section back in. So that, we can bring just that section back for review and consideration.
Just the section on the home-based
That's right.
businesses?
On the zone, it would change the zoning. It's embedded within the change, which would go, this goes back to that Supreme Court ruling that came back out in March, which basically says that, you know, the quorum court has a legislative right to dictate zoning and to make zoning decisions. That's legislative. That's where we get into, you know, the appeal of that would be an arbitrary and capricious standard. It's a pretty high standard. And the Supreme Court basically said what we do here with conditional use permits, unlike what the Court of Appeals had found previously, and they overturned that case law and said that this is, conditional use permits is not zoning. It's quasi-administrative, which means now when someone appeals a conditional use permit from here, it goes to the circuit court, but the circuit court gives no due deference to what the quorum court did. It basically starts anew. It's a de novo appeal, and the circuit court then sits as the quorum court to make those decisions based on the criteria. Changing that over to a more traditional zoning would then fix all of that problem. Whereas the zoning is what would be done, and they are zoning changes and they're permanent changes that run with the land until they're changed again by the quorum court. And so the home-based business part of that is embedded because we actually have a metric that you can look at to see, you know, what type of business falls where in that and people get mad, but it's a scheme. It becomes our statutory scheme that we use. You can see where it is, whether it's commercial or industrial, that sort of thing.
Okay, so in other words, in order to fix this, we're really looking at doing it as part of a bigger can of worms in terms of going back to and looking at the commercial zoning as a whole, and this being, like, this has to be sort of like one sub-part of that whole
That's the
big
way we
piece.
presented it. The quorum court certainly has the ability to just bring a change in that says we're gonna, you know, blanketly exempt home-based businesses. That's certainly something you could do.
Okay,
and
so
keep
we
what
could,
you have.
we
Yeah.
could do that, okay.
Yes.
All right. The commercial zoning, I mean, it's a big thing. We went over it for months and months and months. We may want to do it in pieces, you know, and if we have the ability to start with a more simple piece like home-based businesses, I'd definitely be in favor of doing that, if we have the ability to do that. Another question I had for Dr. Atta, on an earlier screen, and I guess I didn't really understand the wording, having
one?
to do with the recitals.
Oh.
It said something like, where was the language? An additional, I didn't understand the word additional there. With an additional 19 students attending group lessons on Mondays, does that mean 19 plus the 20 to 24?
Yeah, that's according to our understanding as well. Like, that's what was like in the application. And as we said before, like, we don't like to make up like information for the applicant.
Okay.
But I don't think they have like more than like 24, like to maybe like 30 students. I mean, I know the
Okay.
applicant, I'm not sure like if the applicant here today or not, it might be a representative. But yeah, I don't think it's like a big operation. I don't think they have the capacity to have that big of an operation.
Okay, all right, yeah, I was confused about that, whether that meant the recital
mean, if
was
it-
a total of 19, or it was 19 plus the 20 to
I
24.
mean, anyone plays music, when you have a recital, like the students can tell you, but like when you have a recitals,
Yeah.
you normally have like violin, but you also like have viola, cello, you might have drums, so it will be an ensemble. It might be, and I'm assuming that might be an additional to the students she has, just to have a bigger orchestra.
Okay, great, yeah, if maybe someone with knowledge could answer that question, you know, when they speak. The other question I had, probably for the applicant or the appellant, or folks in the neighborhood, who maintains the main road and who maintains the easement? Those are outstanding questions that I have, so, thank you.
J.P. Pond.
Yes, I want to make sure of what I'm hearing. Many questions asked about the conditions, and this has already been approved by the planning board.
Yes, sir.
Are the applicants in agreement with us on the conditions?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, that's one of the questions, like the chairman will ask, have you read the conditions? Because like we send the staff report like to everyone, including you guys.
Okay.
So they are aware of all of this, and that's why it was approved. Even if they don't approve the conditions, sometimes they might argue, like the board and the quorum court has like the right to remove or add conditions.
So I'm to understand that the applicant in this
Oh, yeah,
case has
she's
been
aware.
very cooperative,
Definitely.
actually came forward and made the application. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
J.P. Massengill?
Can I make a motion to pass this?
Yeah, we're not to that part yet.
Oh.
We have the public.
We'll get there. Any other questions for Dr. Atta? Okay, seeing none, the next step in this is for the applicant, the president, to come up and provide any comments, any information that they would like.
Good evening. I'm Holly Smarto. I live at 2312 North Fox Trail. I'm delighted to be here to speak with you to just clear up the misunderstandings that might be taking place. I think one of the, I'm going to go off of my script and ask Dr. Atta. In one of the letters that was sent to my lawyer, it was mentioned that we were required to put a fence around the property. Are you aware of that?
It's one of the conditions we added. So like you are not required as much as like encourage for like safety and security if you need it, and look for just make sure like you don't have any issues with the neighbors, but it's not 100%
I
required.
see. It's not a
It's like
requirement.
desired, yeah.
Okay. Yes, because our property is 5 acres, and I don't think my teaching salary will cover that. But also, I wanted to show you, we printed, do you mind if I show you these pictures? This is the, this is a picture of our house. I have a couple of these from our porch directly towards our neighbor's home at 2316. And this is a picture of our road directly to 2316. I don't know if you all ever been down Fox Trail before. The first time I went down Fox Trail, I fell in love with it, and this house opened up. That was in 1999. So I just really love living there, and my husband and I have decided to make it our home forever, and we want to do wonderful things there and create beauty in our community, which I just want to take a moment, and all those wonderful kids, I did not expect that. I just very, very impressed. As far as taking care of the road, our easement has been maintained by us and the Stanleys who are here tonight. The easement has been maintained by us, resurfacing. My husband does a lot of weed eating out there. And then the main road is maintained by the county. And any questions about that, the HOA vice president can talk about that if you have questions. As far as the group classes and the recitals are, as it says, 2 to 3 times a year. About 18 families arrive, and we have plenty of parking on site for that. Our neighbor has complained about the white gravel in our front yard. Quite honestly, we are not part of the HOA. We're in the county, so it doesn't really matter if he likes my white gravel or not. I have white gravel right now, but just so you know, that white gravel is there to prepare for a beautiful circle driveway someday. And as you know, those sorts of projects take a little time to plan. So we are going to asphalt that and make it into a beautiful circle driveway. We added an addition about 4 years ago to our home, and our concrete was just a mess. So the white gravel is actually better than the torn up concrete that we had previously. Let's see. So it has been suggested that that as a family, we should have known that we needed a conditional use permit, because, anyway, we did not know. I work with people all over the community. I don't know a single music teacher, Benton County, Washington County, that have ever been required to have a conditional use permit. So I find it very insulting to suggest that I should have known this. And the other assertion is that there are cars parked in our driveway after 10 o'clock at night, meaning that I'm teaching at 10 o'clock at night. But if you saw the students that just walked up here, you could tell I wouldn't be teaching them at 10 o'clock at night. So yes, I may have a friend come visit me at 10 o'clock at night, but I'm disappointed that I have neighbors who are watching that to make sure to see who they are. It makes me very uncomfortable. Then regarding the recital that we did have, we've had one recital in a year. In the last year, it was said that cars were parking on the easement. Well, at that point, I didn't think twice about it because the Stanleys have given us permission to use the driveway that goes up to their house. In the future, our neighbors, if they don't want us parking in a certain place, all they need to do is come to me and tell me, and we will be glad to point them in a different direction. But instead, their response was to call the county and call Director Atta. So we will not park on that easement anymore. We have parking in the back of our house now, which my husband personally did all by himself. And we're planning to maybe do a little workshop there for him during his retirement. Let's see. Our property currently accommodates 50 cars. That's a lot. Rarely needed, although I did have a party last week because I'm having a grandbaby, so we did have a lot of cars parked in the back, but not a single one of them were parking on the easement. Let's see. What else? I was also told that, that we didn't do a traffic study, and Director Ada, can I ask you, I thought I had done everything that I needed to do through the...
Yes, she met all the requirements for the conditional use permit. We never ask for like a study. We normally ask for like a statement, and the statement is included in the application and it's included in the staff report.
So a traffic study isn't necessary?
I don't think like, we maybe like once or twice asked for a traffic study based on the engineer requirement, and it was like a bigger project. It was like an industrial project, and they had to do this. But other than that, I don't think even the city of Fayetteville like requested anymore. It's very costly, it takes forever.
I don't know anything about it, so if something comes up, I'll help you. You can help me with that. Let's see. You know what? I can't think of anything else, but I'm here. Do you have any questions for me? No. I appreciate you all. I know you give a lot of your time to our community, and I'm very grateful.
JP Massengill.
Yes. Yeah, I don't blame you for not realizing you needed a conditional use permit. And my opinion, honestly, is you shouldn't be required to have one if it wasn't for the fact that our ordinance is not clear on this area. And I hope that after this, you know, we take this up and we fix this issue with our ordinance. Is there anything else? So looking at the conditions of approval, is there anything else in here that is going to be a burden for you other than this 6-foot fence all the way around the property, which I'm probably going to propose an amendment that we remove that from this before we pass it, but well, I know, but it's written in here, and I'm gonna strike it out of there, so it's not even in there. I mean, it's the, you know, that's a point of argument that somebody could say, well, it's written here, so you need to do it.
Right, that's
And
what's happening.
I don't want to create
Yes.
any more burden on you than has already been placed on you, so.
I appreciate
I
that.
guess my question is there anything else in this list of conditions that you have an issue with?
No,
Okay.
no, the 20 to 24 students a week, I'm not planning to increase that load. I don't want to work more than that. Group classes on Monday nights are 2 or 3 times a month during the school year only. There are quite a few cars coming in then. I'll just be honest. We have maybe 3 little kids coming in, and then they leave, and 5 little kids come in, and then they leave. It's a period of 2 hours on a Monday evening. My neighbors who share the easement with us can talk about that if they would like, to see if that is too much. But I can find ways to make that easier on neighbors if I need to. But it's it's just not even every week, so.
Okay. So you said you have 2 or 3 recitals a year? Do you
Yes.
charge admission for the recital? Okay, so this could be a private party that you have with your students?
Yeah, and I don't charge them either, so.
Right. And you're allowed to have private property,
I-
private parties on your private property?
Yeah, I hope it stays that way.
Right. Well, I'm trying to make the case here that
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is really a stretch, that this is a business function that you have these recitals.
Recitals, yeah.
And
It's an opportunity for students to, it's like if you play soccer, you go to the practices and you
Right.
kick the ball around, and then finally you get to play the game. So the recital is kind of like playing the game. So they get to stand up and do what they do, and it's a wonderful thing. So I'm not going to stop doing recitals. Actually, in the spring, let's see, what was that? It was the end of May, I was supposed to have a recital, and I was so concerned about doing it that I called the university, and they were able to rent for me their space. So we had a recital at the university facility because I was too concerned about having them to my own home. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
So can I make an amendment at this? or-
Yeah, so,
Okay, we're not there yet?
we're gonna get through this, we're gonna let the appellate talk, and then we'll get into our discussion, where all that will come to bear. Yeah.
How you doing? My name's
No,
Wes
I-
Doss.
I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not ready for you. We're
Okay.
still with the applicant.
He's with the applicant.
Oh, you're with the applicant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I apologize.
That's all right. No problem.
JP Koger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So would have to say that the students that come out there are very dedicated. Because when I went, I saw a sign that said Dead End Road, and I wasn't even sure I was at the right spot. But it looks like, it's like maybe, and I'm not good with distances, but I'd say it's what, at least 3 football fields from your front door to where the other house is, south of you? It seems like a long way. Oh, okay. Okay, 2 football. So I didn't catch your name.
My name's Wes Doss, and I'm representing Holly and Buzz on this.
Okay.
I'm an attorney.
Well, my question was for Holly then. I think she will know the answer to this, and
Come back up to the mic, please. Sorry.
From our front door to the neighbor's house is about 550 feet. I guess he used this laser tool that my husband used to check the distance. So, yeah.
okay, so talking about the noise, the front of your property does not seem like you'd be playing, if anyone wanted to practice outside, they would not be in the front of the house, wouldn't they be in the back? Yes, ma'am. And behind your house, there's nothing but trees and forest and wooded areas. Is that up for
Yes,
some
ma'am.
distance?
There's nobody back there.
Okay. Okay, that's where most of your 5 acres are, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to point that out about the music. I don't see how it could be that way. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you want to, please? Okay. JP Rhea Stafford.
Thanks. I was looking at the handout, so I apologize. I missed when you said who maintains the easement.
Who may use the easement?
Who maintains it?
Oh, we do. The Smartos and the Stanleys maintain the easement.
Okay. And well,
And
Washington County
County,
maintains the main road.
Correct.
Yeah. On this map, there's like this narrow piece of property that's like horizontal. Who does that belong to? It's like this narrow strip of land. Kind of, it looks like it's in between you and the neighbors. Huh? Is that part of the easement? That it's just a.
I think you may be talking about the Stanley's driveway, which is their easement. That you own, correct? Yes. So I think, is it the line that kind of goes up?
Nope. It's just a straight. It's just like a little panhandle, almost like the Oklahoma Panhandle there, just south of your property.
To the south. Oh, I don't.
Can you repeat your question?
Sam?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know the answer to this? See, just below the subject property, there's like this, almost like the Oklahoma Panhandle. Oh, no, that doesn't show it.
This one?
Who does that belong to?
Is this what you're talking about, this
Yep.
little
Yep.
area? Well, when I bought the house, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Fred Smarto, Holly's spouse. When we bought the house in 1999 or 2000, the contractor was Virgil Knight, who built the house, and he told me when I bought the house that that area, that little rectangular area,
Yep.
was part of the deal that he made with the homeowner of 2316 at that time. What he decided to do was to get the easement approved by that homeowner was to give them that land. That little section was given to that 2316 property so that he could get the easement placed through there. So that was a condition that the homeowner wanted more of the property because they're losing some on the easement.
I see.
So basically, we paid for that easement through a property.
A land swap,
deal.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, it was a swap, like a land
see.
swap. And I have, on my easement, it says that they gave us the easement on, I'm trying to think of the right words, but I can't think of the.
It's okay, that's all right.
Can't think of it, but.
I got my question answered. Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
That was a deal swap. That was why we got the easement. Well, he got the easement through there. That's what
Gotcha.
I understood.
Okay,
All
great.
right,
Yeah, I was just curious about that. On something JP Massengill brought up about removing the condition for the fence, I definitely would be in favor of that as well, if you want to bring that forward. And otherwise, I got my questions answered. Thank you all.
Okay. Sir, yes, please.
Thank you. Sorry about jumping up like that. Again, my name's Wes Doss. I represent Buzz and Holly. And Holly's been out there teaching for 26 years and using that easement for 26 years. She's had one complaint, and this is it. All those years she's been making our community more beautiful with the kids, raising our kids for us. She's had one complaint, and that's now. I just want to read to you, the public policy of Arkansas is wrapped up in its statutes. And Arkansas has a statute which applies to this. They had the right heart. I don't think they necessarily got it right, but they had the right heart. And it's Arkansas Code Annotated 14-1-106, home-based businesses. I'm just going to read you a couple things. This is in the intro. Small businesses often begin at home because of lower costs and increased flexibility. Home-based work plays a significant role in our economy, as roughly half of all businesses in the United States operate primarily out of a residence. I'm sure that 50% of the people in this room have a home-based business or they have a home office. People use their homes for tutoring. They use their homes for teach piano and other arts, teach painting. Stuff, again, like I said, makes our lives more beautiful. And that's what Holly Smarto is doing out there in East Fayetteville. Now, I'm a little bit worried. I mean, maybe I wasn't hearing well, but I hear about, well, maybe a traffic study will be required, or maybe a fence will be required, or maybe there's a lot of gooiness in this whole thing, and some of you recognize it. And I'll go to somebody, I believe that you mentioned the conditions of approval, which actually, I guess it was given by the staff. I'm not sure if Holly ever saw this or understood it, but there's 57 paragraphs to teach kids how to play the violin. I mean, 57 paragraphs. I mean, this could make their lives miserable for the next 20 years, is what's going on now. Now, the planning board saw through it, and the planning board voted unanimously in favor of Holly and Buzz. And that is not, I don't think that expresses the heart of our state legislature when they started talking or giving us this statute as a gift to the home businesses. In fact, they said it is the intent of the General Assembly that this section strengthen home-based work and remove unnecessary barriers to working from home. 57 barriers right here, 57. This county needs Holly Smarto, needs Buzz Smarto. These kids need Holly Smarto. We have you know, I ask that you consider the heart of this matter, consider what the planning board saw, and we would love to have a unanimous vote here tonight. People should not have to go through this for just serving the kids of this community. It should not happen. Now they had, I don't know if anybody's mentioned this. I mean, they're talking about how they could see it. I mean, y'all might have seen these pictures that are passed around, how they could see the Smarto's house, and somehow that was just so terrible. By the way, it's an absolutely beautiful house. I think y'all have already seen this, but you cannot see anything through this. Now, this is summertime, and I'm sure it's different in winter. But I used to sit over there. I was a JP for District 11 for a season in my life. I think the only, Butch, how long you been a JP? About 24. Okay. Well, I might have been before you. You might have came after I came. Yeah, it's close to 4 decades ago. So, listen, I appreciate what y'all do. There's hard issues, hard questions, and you know, we don't want people to go crazy. There's some amount of regulation, but not 57 paragraphs of regulation. And, you know, something needs to be done. Thank you very much.
J.P. Ecke.
Is the lone neighbor who opposes this, or is there representation for that one neighbor here? Or
That's next on the list,
that's
since
next
we're
on
done
the-
with the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
So to that point, I see no further questions, so we'll move on. Is the appellate, the appellate here and would like to speak? Or a representative?
The appellant, or as you call me, the lone neighbor, is here. My name is Robert Rhodes. I'm a lawyer here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I sent you a letter, and I expect most of you, if not all of you, have probably read the letter, so I'm not gonna belabor you with that. I guess what I'd like to do is just boil this down to what I believe is the crux of what your decision ought to be. It's not that there's a problem with someone having violin lessons at home. That's not it at all. It's the amount, it's the magnitude of it, and that's the reason I think that this county calls for a CUP for that. And that's the reason why a neighbor has every right to come up here and say, we don't want you to grant the CUP. It's not because we don't like violin lessons or we don't like the students. It's because we don't want 42 or 50 parking spots filled with people that are going to recitals, that are going to these lessons, and the fact that they look out, whether it's when the trees have the leaves or not, and they see a bunch of cars, and they see the cars coming up and down on the easement that's on their property, that they don't believe there's that there's an express right for them to have a commercial use for that easement. And that's it in a nutshell. It's not because they don't like the students, it's not because they don't like violin music, it's because they have a right and they want their rights protected as well. And so that's why that, you know, CUPs have conditions. Yes, you can do this. You can't do it by right, but here's some conditions. And you know, if the conditions, you know, I hear people talking about, well, let's get rid of the screening. Well, I honed in on that because that's what it was. That's what it said. That was what this conditional use permit said, is that it was supposed to have screening. But if that's one that you want to take out, I understand. But maybe what you put back in there is, instead of it going till 8 o'clock Monday through Friday, it goes back to 6 o'clock. And I have talked to their lawyer today. I actually gave him a copy of my letter, so he'd be, you know, forewarned that you know, this is what I was going to talk about. And I think there's probably some room for something like that. I think there's also probably some room for you all to look at this and say, well, recitals don't have to be at the house. I think Mrs. Smarto already said that recitals, that they can do them elsewhere. And that was something that, 2 or 3 hours ago, I thought we almost had a little bit of an agreement with the applicant. I'm the appellant, they're the applicant. So like I say, if you're going to redo this CPU from what the planning board put forward, then if you would, look at it from both sides, my client's side as well as the Smarto side. I would stand for any questions.
Any questions for the appellant? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So the next item is for discussion for the body of the court here, the members. Any discussion you have, motions for amendments, those types of things is where we're at this point. JP Massengale.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to remove some of the conditions from this CUP. Personally, I'd like to remove all conditions, but I'm not sure everybody would go for that. So on signage, I'd like to remove 1.0, which is the privacy fence requirement.
That's, the conditions like in the back, they should be, that is the, if you keep going up, up, no, that's down. Keep going.
Planning conditions?
Yeah, planning conditions, and like, I guess if you're referring to number 8, maybe, up, past it.
Well, I'll see a signage and lighting and screening.
Yeah,
conditions
that's,
right
I
here.
do too.
that's like
Over here,
overall,
there's
like, it says, like, if
signage,
desired.
lighting, screening conditions.
Yeah. And you are looking at the planning conditions here, like.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at it specifically where it says signage, lighting, screening conditions, 1.0, privacy fence.
Yes.
I want to remove that.
Remove the whole thing?
Yeah, that 1.0. Well, I'm not through.
You're changing the staff report at that point, just
Yeah,
like. if
yeah, I understand. It's your
Okay.
standard cut
Yeah.
sheet or whatever, and I mean, I think there's, a lot in here I would probably remove if we had time, but this was approved by the planning commission and the applicant, so I don't want to change the whole thing.
I mean, if we remove the signage, just like FYI, if we remove the signage so they can't have any signage, we have ordinances that says the signage should be like that size, specific at that height.
Well, I'm
So-
just 1.0 of the signage.
Okay.
Just that first one. that
Basically,
talks
the
about-
screening, the fence.
Just the
Yes,
privacy?
fence.
Okay.
So do you have others?
Yeah, there was a condition of no amplified music. I'm concerned that could be used against this applicant if they have a personal or private party that's not associated with this. They're allowed to have amplified music.
What is that under, do you know?
Planning conditions.
Thank you.
Number 7.
Could we get these split out into separate motions, please?
Sure.
Okay.
So let's take care of the first one, and we'll come back. So I have a motion to remove, I mean, I went out and drove, and I think the trees that are out there provides the screening, but that's fine.
Right.
So the motion by JP Massengale, I heard a second by JP Lemming, to remove the first item under signage and lighting screen conditions, which reads privacy fence a minimum of 6 feet in height of typical picket construction, masonry or chain link with uniform opaque screen or vertical slats to be placed around perimeter of the property. Native trees, planting natural objects, or other tall vegetation could be used if desired. So that will be removed as the motion. Yes, and the second. JP Lopez.
Thank you, Chair. I think this kind of was addressed by when I was speaking to Director Ada. He said that some of these other conditions are suggestions, but they are not strict conditions that are placed on this application. And when we talked to him, he did state that the trees can already be considered to be screening elements. And that was, I think, further iterated in what JP Lyons just said. So I do think that this motion would be kind of redundant because it appears that it's already been addressed in, I mean, I don't think that it's necessary to have personally, so I wouldn't support this particular amendment.
Any other discussion? JP Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. This amendment is certainly understandable, but I think that if we entertain that, and I'm not opposed to it, if you look towards the bottom where it says planning conditions, number 8, it also says there, provide reasonable screening to neighboring properties. Maybe it's redundant in the language, but I would think you'd need to do both of those. If you're going to do one and leave the other, it wouldn't make sense. So I don't want to complicate things, but I guess that would be an amendment to the amendment.
Okay. So I have an amendment to the amendment.
Second.
To remove under planning conditions, number 8, provide reasonable screening to neighboring properties. Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion to amend to remove item 8 under planning conditions by JP Wilson, seconded by JP Massengale. Any additional discussion on that amendment? JP Bond, is yours on that latest amendment or something else? Okay, JP Bond.
Okay, thank you. I'm running a little bit behind y'all on this, but I would ask you to, even though I agree with the amendment you're making here, we start making these changes, and when we're in favor of the Smartos keeping their right to live on their properties and enjoy it the way they see, we start making these changes, which were passed by the planning board, and then if this winds up going to circuit court, we're creating an argument for either side in what we do. So I would just say, be very careful about, and I might ask Brian what he's got to say about this.
If it goes to circuit court, this process starts all over as if this never happened. So you don't have to worry about it being arbitrary and capricious, because the court's already told the county that this is not zoning. So just to let you know, it starts all over as if this didn't happen.
So right now, then, we're just starting all over, pretty much. I mean, with that being the opinion of the county attorney, we may as well do this. And like I said, I'm in agreement with what you're doing here. Just anyway, thank you.
JP Stafford.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate JP Wilson's amendment to the amendment, but here's my counter argument. I'm in favor of taking out number 1 on the signage because that specifically mentions a privacy fence, which the trees are there already. But if we also take out number 8 under planning conditions, which just says provide reasonable screening to neighborhood properties, you know, I don't think that the applicant is going to do this, but potentially they could cut down all the trees at some point, and then we don't have anything in here that says keep the reasonable screening to neighboring properties, which the trees do provide. So I think that's, to me, that's sort of a, keep the buffer that's there, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a fence. So that's my argument in favor of the amendment, but against the amendment to the amendment. Thanks.
Any discussion on the amendment to the amendment? You're on, go ahead. Sorry?
Yeah, I just want to make one comment in regard to what Justice Stafford said. So what if they want to cut all the trees down? I mean, they got 2 or 3 students coming by, a couple of extra cars in the driveway. You know, to me, they've got a litigious neighbor who's looking for anything to create problems for these people, and something written in here that says, you know, I mean, I would take, if it was up to me, I'd take most of these requirements out. Personally, I don't feel like they need a CUP for what they're doing, but so, anyhow, I'm for the amendment to the amendment, and anything else we want to take out of there. So.
Okay. Any others? J.P. Wilson, or Washington, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just in listening to everyone, I just really want us to consider the amendment to the amendment as well as the amendment. So I know that we've pretty much made up our mind that we do believe that the studio should continue to be in that neighborhood. We can all agree on that. I think the flip side of that we also need to be considerate about is we also do need to consider the neighbors as well. And so I just believe that this, as the planning board has approved it, is what we should go with. They knew that number 1 and number 8 was similar. They knew all of those things. So I just feel that the amendment to the amendment as well as the amendment, in my opinion, is not really necessary. Let's trust what our planning board has already done and vote on it as is. Because yes, while we do want to vote in favor of the Smartos to be able to enjoy their property the way that they want to, we also have to be considerate of the neighbors as well. And I feel that what is presented to us will be the fairest way for us to do that. And that maybe it's not up to us to go through to say, oh, we don't need that condition, oh, we don't need that condition. Because if we didn't need the conditions, why would the planning board have included them in the first place? So I will not be voting in favor of the amendment to the amendment or the amendment. And I encourage you guys not to do so either.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, so this is a vote on adding to the amendment, was a motion to add by J.P. Wilson and seconded by J.P. Messingale to remove item 8 under planning conditions, which is provide reasonable screening to neighboring properties. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. I think that those take it. I think that the amendment to the amendment fails. So back to the original amendment, which is removing item 1 under signage, lighting, screening conditions. Any additional discussion on that? Seeing none, motion by J.P. Massengale to remove number 1 under signage, lighting, screening conditions, seconded by J.P. Lemming. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. I believe the ayes have it, so that amendment passes. Back to the discussion. Any additional discussion on this or other amendments? J.P. Koger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just, considering what was suggested by the attorney for, I can't remember, don't remember the name. Anyway, about changing the hours of operation, could we just hear from Ms. Holly and see how that would affect her business, or if that's a possibility?
To be clear, the conditions state the hours are Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, but sometimes we, you know.
I'm just
Okay.
saying that's not what I heard said. I'm just making sure we understand what's in the
Okay,
conditions.
okay, thank you. I was just curious about that.
Could you repeat the question?
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. The attorney that was here said something about maybe changing hours of operation. And I would just like to hear from you how you think that would affect your business, or how you, so we could, at least hear that. That's all I was asking.
I'm limited by school hours. So I can only teach when students get out of school, 3, 4 o'clock. So that would, yes.
They don't get off work until 5.
And working parents. This is my colleague, Mary
Kelly.
Mary Kelly. She's the orchestra director at Bentonville West, and if you don't mind, she can help answer this question also.
So the biggest thing is that most parents work until 5, 6 o'clock. And so if she's cut off at 6 o'clock, some parents won't be able to come. And part of it is that the students need to have their parents there during the lesson so they can absorb what is happening in the lesson and learn. And the way that Holly teaches is the parent and the child learn together. So the parent is super important, is an integral part of the lesson. So if parents can't come, then that really limits the instruction that she can do.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
J.P. Pond.
Are we ready for a motion to pass this as it's been amended? I move we pass.
Yeah, we are at that point.
11.1 is amended. I believe that's the number on this.
So your motion is to ratify the conditional use permit.
Yes.
No, wait a minute, we never voted on that other amendment.
Yeah, we did. We voted on the motion.
Oh, and it passed. Yeah, so so you're to ratify.
First off, we haven't read the ordinance at all.
Oh, that's a good point.
What we need to do is get rid of the 3 readings.
Let's read, we need it read, so.
Move to
We need to have it
suspend the
read, so
rules.
council, will you read that ordinance, please? No, sure.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the HS Studios project.
We need 3 readings on this. Move to suspend the rules and read second time by title only.
So I have a motion to suspend the rules and move this to a second reading by J.P. Pond, seconded by J.P. Ecke. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes. Please read that for a
Move
second
to
time.
suspend. Okay.
An ordinance ratifying a condition.
Yes?
I may be wrong, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but aren't they still allotted a time to speak before we vote?
They will before we take a final vote.
The final vote, yeah. I mean, we go through this, we get the motion, citizens comment, and then we vote on
Okay.
the actual ratification.
Thank you for the
Yes,
clarification.
sir.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the HS Studios project.
Move to suspend the rules and read the 3rd time by title only.
So I have a motion by J.P. Bond to suspend the rules and move this to the third and final reading, seconded by J.P. Dean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Please read that for a third time.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the HS Studios project.
Move to pass.
Okay, so I have a motion by J.P. Pond to pass the ratifying of this conditional use permit, seconded by J.P. Ecke. Any additional discussion? So the only thing I'm gonna add is if you look at our ordinance, the conditions we are to use to base our decision on, in my mind, this cup meets all of them. I have no issue with it, compatible, safety, I mean, all those, 7, 8 things that are there, I think it aligns with those, from my personal opinion. So I just want to put that on the record from that standpoint. Any other discussions? Okay, citizen comment. Citizen comment on the ratification of this cup, yes.
Ready.
3 minutes, 15 minute total? 12 minute total, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Lovett, currently residing in Prairie Grove. One of the men spoke about Arkansas Code 14.1-106. It was enacted by Act 659 of 2021. The statute significantly limits government ability to require permits or prohibit business operating from a residence. Y'all are setting a precedence. This is the only person that you have put into place as a seat, as a cup, that's going to bite you in the butt in the future. Let me continue reading. A government cannot generally require a permit, home occupation permit, or local approval simply because a person is operating a business from their home. The General Assembly specifically found that such requirements create unnecessary barriers for entrepreneurship. So I know Judge Deakins wasn't here tonight. This is probably the reason why he's not, because I've seen a lot of discrepancy from him in the past. But the proper way to do things is to treat everybody right. Arkansas has a state preemption. Says state legislatures dictate the broad framework and limits of local zoning authority. If the state passes laws expressly regulating specific land uses, counties and municipalities must adhere to those rules. Y'all create rules as you go, is what I've seen. This does not need to be a cup. All these people that teach piano, all this kind of stuff, I grew up with my sister doing it. They have the right to do it in their own home. There's a reason why people build in the county. There's a reason why they build out where there's no HOA. So they have the right to do what they want to do with their business. Let's see. Sorry I'm taking up so much time. In zoning and land use, state law always takes precedence over county law. If a county ordinance directly conflicts with the state statute law wins. The county zoning regulation in question should be stricken from the records, as it is useless in this case, in my opinion. Local zoning must comply with state standards, and counties cannot legally pass laws that contradict state zoning frameworks. Don't set this precedence. Thank y'all.
Additional comments?
Good evening. I'm Brandon Stanley, and I live in 2314 with my wife. We bought our property in '04, and we built there in '09. And so we've been running up and down that driveway, that easement, for almost 17 years now. And she's had her business for longer than that. And I would say if you look at even the numbers that she gave, 20 to 25 extra trips a week. And so we're talking about 4 or 5 trips a day. And if you think about a typical place that has maybe teenagers, Amazon packages, I feel like we get 4 a day of those. And so it's not a burden. I think about, if it were a burden, then when I drive down that shared easement especially, I should have to be pulling backwards to let cars out more often. And I think I can count twice since we've been in that property. So that was my main point. I've got a lot of other points, but I think we beat this to death at this point. Questions?
Thank you, sir. Any additional citizen comment?
Hey, my name is Thomas Yandek. I live in 3843 East Chatsworth Road, and I've lived in Fayetteville for 26 years. So I'm speaking here because my 10-year-old daughter, Terry, is a Holy Mother student. I can pretty much narrow this thing down from all the points that I wanted to make to just one. I really didn't like sort of the argument that this may be sort of high-intensity business. I cannot speak to sort of the intricacies of land use and neighborhood problems. I'm not neighbor. But I can speak sort of how, in my opinion of a parent, a Holy Mother studio operates. a vast majority of the time, parents drive the kid one by one. We meet at most one other car, and sort of our kids go, take the lesson, we park far away from the street, and we leave. So this is completely different from high-intensity commercial use. There are no strangers coming to the house, no signage, no deliveries, no nothing. The group studies and the recitals, I think that there was a little bit of a problem with how the numbers were presented. I can tell you from an experience of a parent who went there very many times, vast majority of the time, the students, if they are at the recital and they play the final piece, they are going to fit to this thing. So this is not. I can think that at one point we started adding 20 plus 14 plus 23. We are talking about North Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, right? This is a really relatively small violin studio, quiet, single purpose, dedicated to teaching children. Really high quality. Kids learn discipline. Kids learn sort of musical excellence. Many students go on and go to regional orchestras. Holy Mother students play before Northwest Arkansas, Symphony of Northwest Arkansas. So I really think that this is a very limited small operation. By absolutely no way this is high intensity business as it was a couple of minutes ago argued. I really hope that this excellent studio can continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Additional citizen comment.
I'm a little shorter here. Thank you all very much for your time. My name is Talina Bear. I live at 2337 North Fox Trail, and it'll be as of 7 years next month that I've been there. And a year ago this month, which is about the same time that property at 2316 was purchased, I adopted a dog from here in Washington County from the shelter. And I walk him on our very quiet road because he refuses to do his business in my yard. So twice a day, between 2 to 6 miles, I'm out there walking him on a typical day. Now, I can't provide you with an official traffic survey, but what I can provide you is an autistic human with good pattern recognition. And I pride myself on being like, ooh, who's that vehicle? I bet that's an Instacart for Megan. And pretty soon, oh, yep, they dropped it off. And I'm kind of ashamed to say I didn't even realize when I learned that Holly, who I wouldn't even have considered a friend before all of this started, but just an acquaintance I'd met a couple of times, I didn't realize that while she was a teacher of violin, that she actually did it out of her home. So I need to brush up on my TISM skills a little bit then. But what I have noticed is a pattern of the resident at 2316 causing nuisance and burdensome issues. I now, where I used to walk regularly without any hesitation, after hearing that and found out that he pulled a gun on my neighbor for weed eating on his own easement, I now walk with a body cam in fear. And I hope that whatever you guys do with whatever you pass, that whatever provisions are put in there, there is no ambiguity for this particular individual to try to work around that. So I really encourage that, especially since, I know you were discussing the screening, trees, et cetera. While Holly herself is not in the actual POA, so therefore, she's not performing lessons in a POA. But the POA also does prohibit big privacy fences. So just whatever that you guys do end up doing, please make sure that an individual who likes to be a nuisance and likes to cause issues for neighbors cannot find a way to weasel around and have ambiguity in there. I would just really request that. And thank you guys so much for your time for this issue. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you. Additional citizen comment? We got about 1:50 left.
I'm Larry Terry. I've been a resident there since '04. No problems, no issues. Not a lot of traffic. It's like a normal neighborhood. One thing y'all do need to keep in mind that we had a vote. We put a ballot out for everybody in the neighborhood, and every resident except one voted in favor of the Scamardos. I had no problem with anything that was going on there. And while you're talking about these rules and things, you might keep in mind, we do have a POA. And some of those won't allow, some of those that you have up there to begin with, they can't put a fence around that property and things like that. POA stops certain things. So
Thank you,
keep
sir.
that in mind.
I got 43 seconds. Anybody else would like to express comments?
My name is Mary Kelly. I just want to say that part of the reason Mrs. Smarto had to have the recital off her property was because she was afraid of the security of children coming because of her neighbor, and having the recital in a alternate location is a burdensome because you have to pay for it, and so that's it's a burden on her to have to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. So I have a motion by J.P. Pond, seconded by J.P. Ecke, to pass the ratification as amended. Mr. Allen, will you call roll?
Justice Massengill? Yes. Justice Rivera Lopez? Yes, sir. Yes. Justice Lyons?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Justice Ecke? Yes. Justice Dean?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Justice Washington? Yes. Justice Koger? Yes. Justice Dennis? Yes. Justice Hires? Yes. Justice Rios Stafford? Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Ricker? Justice Pond? Yes. Justice Wilson? Yes.
That passes. Okay. Thank you. We're all very happy. We have, I'm sorry, we have another one right behind you, and I think it's going to go longer. So let's go. Sorry. J.P. Lemming?
Can we take about a 3-minute pee break?
Yes. All those in favor? There you go. So let's take 5 minutes, because I think we'll go long, a lot of time, and then we'll be back at, let's just say 8 o'clock. We'll start at 8. That's 7 minutes. We're ready to start back. Everybody come back and take their seat, please. All right, thank you. So the second one tonight is the appeal hearing for the Fox Hunt Landing Project Cup. Is Dave back there? Dave back there? No. Where'd he go? Go do it. Thank you.
And so is Mr. Lester.
Director Ada needs permission.
No, it's there. Look, I need the presentation and. You're fine. Thanks, Dave. $2026 $100. The other one. The 100. Yeah. That's one. Hey. All right. Welcome back. Good afternoon. Fox Hunter Landing conditional use permit was heard by the planning board and approved by the 5-member attending on April 30th. The applicant is requesting commercial flex spaces on 2.25 acres in the county. It's located on, it has like one address on like Fox Hunter, but actually also like on the highway, as you're gonna see. Just let me clarify here, like, because they had like mistake. It's not a mistake, it's like confusion. Normally, like when we have an appeal, all the appeals like are like compiled into one appeal case or like one case number. For some reason, they had like at the county clerk, they had like multiple employees. They were not aware of how the process works, so they had to accept like 4 different appeals, which normally like there'll be compiled into one case. So you're gonna see multiple cases, but basically it's like the same appeal for like one conditional use permit. The first one was submitted by Mr. Kirby McAllister, like representing Barrington Park subdivision in Fayetteville on May 5th, 2026. And I'm pretty sure like they're gonna like speak to their grievances and what's happening and why they're opposing that project. So I'm gonna move forward. The next one was submitted by Mr. Paul Simpkins on behalf of Timber Crest subdivision in Fayetteville as well. The third one was submitted by Ms. Karen Kimbrough on behalf of Covington Park subdivision in Fayetteville. And the fourth one was submitted by Mr. Paul Warren on behalf of St. Joseph Catholic Church. This is the vicinity map of the area showing where the subject property is gonna be. This is like a zoom in location of the property, the site map itself. And this is the neighbor notification. The neighbors like they're being notified for that project by the applicant. So this is just like a quick map showing where the subject property versus where the appeal originated from. You can see Barrington Park, Timber Crest, Covering Park subdivisions, and the St. Joseph Catholic Church. Once again, I'm going to show all the appeals here. This is the letter that's being sent to the applicant, like that's by the appellant. We asked the appellant to notify the same number of applicant, like the neighbors that they were like notified during the planning board. So 18 neighbors were notified by the applicant during the planning board on April 16th. Staff to the time of the planning board meeting received 8 neighbors in opposition, citing increased traffic and incompatibility with the surrounding residential area. The CUP appeal notification, the appellant notified the same 18 neighbors. And to the right, you can see that like consent letter that was received by the planning. Okay, here comes like the project. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to construct and operate like 3 commercial flex space buildings. Proposed hours of operations are Mondays through like Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with a maximum of 5 employees per business. The subject property is 2.25 acres and is currently under like contract contingent upon the CUP approval. Building A, and you can see A, B, and C. There, that's a sketch they presented for the CUP. It's 40 by 150, building equipped with all necessary utilities. Access will be provided by 2 paved driveways, one from East Mission Boulevard, Highway 45, and the other from East Fox Hunter Road. There will be also, there'll also be like 9 paved standard parking stalls and 1 ADA compliant space. Building B and C will each be 30 by 120 buildings equipped with like necessary utilities. Access will be provided via like a paved driveway from like East Fox Hunter. Each building will include 1 ADA compliance parking spaces with a shared gravel parking area located between the 2 structures. A monument sign is proposed at the southwest corner of the site, is in compliance with the Washington County standards, along with the installation of security and privacy fencing. The septic system layout and configuration will be finalized following the further coordination with the Arkansas Department of Health. They got the perk test approved, but like for the design, they said like we have to discuss this further. If approved, this project will be required to go through the large-scale development process where like all the maps, all the designs, the engineering, and all of this will be like presented to the planning board. It's just like a general like view also like of the approved CUP in the vicinity. Close to this project, back in the day, we had like almost like 9 CUPs that like they came forward before the planning board and were ratified by the quorum court as well. Part of the notification process, the city of Fayetteville like owns a piece of land there, and like they send us this letter like saying that they have no objection to this project being on that location because it matches like the regional link streets as classified by the city of Fayetteville and like matches like the rest of the area for like business uses. And that was sent like on June 22nd, after the notification for that appeal happened. And we have the planning conditions listed there, and I'm pretty sure like the applicant was present at the meeting and he saw all of this and he received an email as well. Any questions?
Questions for Director Atta? JP Massengill.
So the buildings that are gonna get built, what's the intended use?
They're gonna be flex spaces, and we approved like multiple flex spaces in the county before. Flex spaces will like vary on like the tenant, and I'm pretty sure like the applicant himself is gonna like, go over this like to make sure that like whatever's been discussed previously is what's gonna be discussed here as well. Flex spaces based on like tenants, as I said, it could be a carpenter, it could be a dentist, it could be a lawyer. And I mean, like that building, the shell of it is going to be there, but like the interior is going to be modified based on the size of the like the tenant or the request itself.
Okay, so like a hair salon or something like that? Would
Could
that
be, yeah.
So they could have customers or stuff?
Yeah, it could be. And like, by the way, when this like happens, it's like a hair salon, and they are required like to have like further like permitting from the state. They have to get that like separate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
JP Lemming.
Thank you, Jared. Sam, you mentioned the fact is the septic, that close to the city of Fayetteville, they don't have septics?
Even if they have the septic, the city of Fayetteville or like any city, they always have preference like to support like their like
they won't go outside the city?
within their like city limits first. So I don't know if they have septic that's been there, but I'm assuming they never said.
So all the subdivision that's around it that don't show to be in the city, where do their sewer go?
Let's go back here. The subdivisions in the county, most likely they have. Back in the day, that used to be like Fayetteville planning area, remember? So that's why you might see lots of lot sizes that less than 1 acre because it was approved by the city. But I'm assuming they either have like approved septic by the health department, that's why they have it, or it might be an agreement back in the day by the city of Fayetteville to support it.
So is that green all in the Fayetteville? Is that all in the city?
All green in the city of Fayetteville, or
So
like
this,
other
basically
colors.
this lot's just really, the city don't want to fight this battle.
Well, I don't know what the city like wants or not, so.
So, okay. Is the cemetery to the north of that, I mean, to the east of that road? To the, is,
I honestly cannot tell you yes or no without seeing the overall like map.
okay, I see it. Thank you.
JP Lopez.
Thank you, Chair. Director Ada, was this formerly in the ETJ?
We're talking about the subject.
Yes,
like
that we're considering.
property? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That used to be, let's go back here. Yes, that used to be in the planning area, City of Fayetteville planning area.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep, no worries.
Other questions for Director Ada? Seeing none, is the applicant here and would like to speak to this? Need you to push that bottom right button for me, please.
Oh, it's already on? It's on.
Very good. My name is Jay Young with Development Consultants Incorporated. We are development consultant that the applicant hired to assist with the application and with the site concept sketch that's before you. We have looked at this with the applicant. We think it is a good use of the property and an appropriate use of the property in a good location on the highway and on Fox Hunter. And I'm going to allow the owner to answer most of your questions, but I do want you to know I am here to answer any questions you've got that might be specific to the development design of the property.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here, of course. And my name is Mike Parker. I live at 4457 East Pasofino Lane, a little further out. So I drive by this property all the time. Thought for years, I've got a very small construction company, 0 employees, 2 independent contractors that operate the equipment. So I always thought this would be a great place to put my construction equipment to store it, have a base for it. Finally came up for sale. Someone put it under contract right away before I could. I understood they were trying to use this property for residential purposes. And after doing the soil test and all this, found out you can't build anything residential on this property. I couldn't even build a 1-bedroom house on this property. You're in the county, you don't have city sewer access. And because the current owners that have owned it for decades, just being good neighbors, they've let the surrounding subdivisions put their fill on the property. Even the cemetery, when they dug graves, they put their fill on this property, which didn't hurt their use because they always used it for commercial. The county parks their county trucks on it, their commercial trucks. Right now, there's a giant fireworks stand on it every year for, I don't even know how, for as long as I remember. So the ground has been compacted in for parking lot. They couldn't get it to perk out to build a house on it or multifamily or whatever they were gonna do. Well, we had the professionals come out and there's a small part of the property that is undisturbed. We are so low invasive of our use that it met the health department's requirements for our use. We're gonna have 3 or 4 half baths. You know, like a house would have a kitchen with dishwasher, washer, dryer, tub and shower. It wouldn't support that. But for us, it would work. So because the property is commercial and so expensive to try to make the payment on it, I thought I'm gonna have to build a couple of more buildings other than just mine. My building's building B, right in the middle, and behind that's building C. They're kind of out of sight, which I like. We're gonna have a privacy fence around it, one access off Fox Hunter. A friend of mine's a builder. He needs a space to store equipment, and I was gonna use part of building C to store records and some furniture. Building A is visible. It's gonna be really nice, nicely landscaped, paved parking lot, all that. I have a really nice upscale interior decorator that wants that building. We've been looking for a long time for her a space. It's perfect. She needs about half of it for warehousing her product and about half of it for a showroom. So occasionally she'll have an appointment there to meet, consultate with her client, show them her product, that kind of thing. So we presented what we wanted to do to the Planning Commission. Of course, they passed it unanimously. 4, 5, 6 people commented their concerns, and they heard everything, and that's the way it went. So I thought we were going on to large-scale development, and then I got a call, hey, somebody's appealed this. I thought, well, why in the world would someone appeal this? It doesn't affect anybody else. The only 2 properties that join it, I've opted to purchase the brick house that joins it on Fox Hunter. And because what we're going to do, it's going to increase the value of what's around it. This is like a $2 million project. So I wanted it to buy that. I didn't have to buy it to buy the land. The other property that joins it are 2 duplexes on Mission, Highway 45, a state highway. I used to own those. I sold those a couple years ago to a friend of mine who's an accountant. And when I found out I could possibly purchase this, I called her and said, hey, could I buy those back? I offered her a really pretty good profit. And she said no, she wanted to keep them, but would let me know. So that's the only 2 properties that join it. I mean, I've sold properties all around this in all these neighborhoods. I sold my daughter a house in the neighborhood across the street. We don't affect those values. I've built 3 similar buildings to this on my properties, and I'll guarantee you it increased the property value according to Washington County tax assessors. We're not, in 49 years of being a real estate broker and developing several high-end properties of affordable housing as well, we've never done anything or built anything that adversely affect anyone else. So when I read this appeal, it's like defacing property values. It's the opposite of that. What we're going to do is something nice. I drive by this, I want to be proud to say, hey, that's mine, you know. I don't want to do something that would hurt any other property. Another complaint was drainage. Well, they should have known now because of the regulations in the county, you have to have an engineered grading and drainage plan, retention, detention pond. We've had to do soil tests. The other thing was traffic. They said, we'll have 15 employees and increase traffic. Well, the state highway 45 has about 12,000 cars a day. We don't have any employees. The one building A, she's a owner operator. I'm building B. I'm not going to hardly ever be there. My guys better not be there. They need to be out making some money. Really, my construction company's for clearing my own properties and for clients to help them put in a driveway or dirt work that I sell property to. Building C is going to be for storage. So it's so low impact. We have 2 driveways off Fox Hunter, one off of 45 State Highway. There's a 1/4 mile of line of sight on each direction on 45. I can't imagine anything detrimental. One comment I saw was, oh, the height of it. Well, we're planning on single-story buildings. If you look at a 2-story house, we're going to be lower than them. It's the highest and best use. You know, I've served on planning commissions. It's follow the rules and regulations was our job. Highest and best use, as long as it doesn't hurt someone else. This fits all that. Not only is this the highest and best use, it's the only use. If this was turned down, the sellers, they would just have to keep it. I mean, what else can you do with it except the fireworks stand? I mean, you could have a car lot or mini storage, but that probably wouldn't get approved because that would be high traffic. So anyway, I'm trying to address these things, and I just couldn't imagine one person I understood really stirred up over 1,000 people in a big radius to send you all. I'm sure you've gotten lots of emails, petitions, on and on. So I couldn't imagine. I thought for these sellers, about 3 or 4 years ago, I stopped by there to try to buy this to the lady that owned the house next door. She was in a wheelchair, and she said, oh, I don't want to sell. I gave her my card. So about 4 years later, when this came up, found out the son who was raised in the house and his wife, who's here, you know, they're having to sell this to take care of their mom. She was in a wheelchair. Now she's in memory care. She's in extended care every day, very expensive. If they don't sell it, I don't know what they would do. But it's just, it doesn't affect anyone else adversely that I can fathom what we have planned. So anyway, that's my sad story, and I think the seller would like to address y'all if that's okay. Or is that another time period for that?
Sorry?
The seller would also like to say something if that's okay. Is that all right, or no? And I could answer any questions too of what we have planned.
Yes, that's part of your applicant, yes.
Okay.
I'm Sarah Logie. I am Laura Logie, the seller's daughter-in-law, her co-guardian. And her son's back there in the back with our real estate agent. And like Mr. Parker said, we are selling this land and the house because we do have to pay for her care. I'm sorry, I am nervous, and it is a bit upsetting because I see a lot of people in here showed up to object to this sale and this use that I've never seen before. They aren't really neighbors. We aren't part of the HOA. We aren't a part of a POA. My mother-in-law has lived there had lived there since 1973 or 74. And I mean, yeah, when my husband was growing up, Fox Hunter Road was a dirt road. He played on the farmland that these neighborhoods were built on. That's when it really was rural. It's not now. It's Highway 45. It's crazy busy. There's businesses all up and down it, both directions. And like you said, I mean, basically to turn down the CUP renders that land useless unless these HOAs decide that it meets their standards for what should be there. And I do feel like that's an undue burden on us. I also think it's going to be an undue burden on the county and anybody else who intends to buy it, if it's not Mr. Parker, because we're going to have to come here and do this again. I mean, anybody who wants to buy it, they're obviously going to have to try to file the application for the CUP. We're going to have to go before the Planning Commission and then come back here, or we have to sit on it and find some other way to pay $8,000 a month for memory care when this is basically my mother-in-law's life savings. So I would appreciate it if you would consider those facts as well in determining whether or not to approve the CUP. And then also when hearing objections from people I've never met in 27 years of marriage. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for the applicant? JP Massengill.
Yeah, so for the applicant, what kind of, I don't know where they went, okay. What kind of business would you envision going and building a?
An interior decorator.
Oh, it's just one business?
We're designing it for her, yes. She needs that much, she needs half the building for warehousing for materials.
Oh,
like
okay.
tile and whatever you redecorate a house with, you know. So yes, that would be for her use. My building would be building B in the middle, and I would occupy part of C, and a friend of mine who's a builder, the rest of C is, that's what I'm designing.
It's primarily
for.
storage, you're doing primarily storage in building B and C, and then an interior decorator in building A?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good to me,
That-
thanks.
That's why I'm trying to buy it.
Yeah.
If it was a lot cheaper, I would just build my building and not worry about the other things. But I'm just, you know, just the entry level things here is almost $1 million. It's not residential, you know.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item is the appellate or representation of the appellate here and would like to speak.
Hi, guys. I'm Kirby McAllister. I live at 1803 North Hartford Drive. I'm the president of Barrington Park Subdivision, Inc. The subject property is adjacent, just immediately adjacent to the north side. More of it? Okay.
If you lift it a little bit,
Okay.
Oh, the mic itself.
Oh, it's, now.
Now go.
So, okay, gotcha. Hey, there we go. Okay, Kirby McAllister, 1803 North Hartford Drive. I'm the president of the Barrington Park subdivision. And this subject property is just adjacent, just on the north side of our subdivision. We passed out some materials. One of our speakers tonight, Matt Cooper, took pictures from his dining room this morning, and then outside, just to show you, where this property is in relation to his yard. So it's a photograph. Each of you should have it in your papers there. Mm-hmm. So this appeal, it's really personal to about 1,300 people in our surrounding neighborhoods. You guys got emails from folks supporting the appeal from Piper's Glen, from Ridgemont Estates, Candleshoe, Madison, Timbercrest, Barrington Park, of course, and then the people on Fox Center Road. I think you should have gotten about 120 emails supporting the appeal. So it's very, they're concerned, and we live in the quality of life in this neighborhood is really special. It's a huge residential area with all these subdivisions on the edge of, on the county, just about. And what we don't want to see is an incompatible commercial land use wedged in the middle of our neighborhoods. And this will lead to a domino effect of more commercial use, incompatible properties. You've got property to the north, to the northeast. So luckily for us, there's some guardrails in place to protect us. Washington County, back in August, adopted the Freedom and Property Protection Zoning Act, number 2025-44, and I'll refer to that as the zoning ordinance also. So the zoning ordinance provides protections for areas surrounding conditional use properties. And the ordinance lists 7 criteria which must be met before conditional use can be approved and ratified. So, after we as folks from different subdivisions, and after we reviewed these criteria in the zoning ordinance, reviewed the applicant's plan, and rewatched the April 30th planning meeting, we believe the applicant only met one of the 7 protective criteria. Justin Kasuli will follow me, and he'll discuss those criteria in a few minutes. So I believe there's one question for the Honorable Court to consider tonight is, does the conditional use permit application package, does it meet each of the 7 criteria required by the zoning ordinance? We don't believe it does. Some of the clearest proof comes from the April 30th planning meeting itself, from the applicant's own words and from board members who voted yes. If we look at the application, the applicant asked for a conditional use permit to build 3 commercial flex space buildings for, quote, office, retail, and/or storage purposes. Now, this term flex space, that's not a use. It describes, I think one of you mentioned it, an empty shell that can be finished out as one space to rent out for a business or multiple. It can be, configured for an infinite number of uses. In fact, the term flex space doesn't exist in your zoning ordinance. And the point here is that flex space is not a use, and therefore it can't be a conditional use. But the important word in what the applicant described, he said 3 commercial flex space buildings. The word commercial is the key word. And in your zoning ordinance, commercial is defined as a profit-making activity
including but not limited to buying, selling, trading of merchandise or services, office spaces, retail shops, and industrial units. All right, industrial units, what is that? Any unit, and this is defined in your ordinance, any unit of divided space in which the use accommodates industrial activities, including production, manufacturing, assembly, warehousing structure, distribution of goods. So hopefully you see what we see is this conditional use permit. It's not a permit for a specific use. It's a permit for an infinitely wide category of commercial uses. Now, during the April 30th planning meeting, the applicant described the project similar as tonight, very small development, pretty low impact. He said then 15 vehicles a day, and even that, he said, was on the high end. He stated on the 30th there'd be fewer than 15 employees. There would be storage for the applicant, storage for a contractor, and the large building would be used by an interior designer. And that's the picture the planning board was shown. Small, quiet, 15 cars. And he also mentioned something that he said, hey, this is a concept plan. And to me, a concept plan is something that might not be nailed down in stone. It's flexible. It's changeable, movable. And so I just socked that word away, concept plan. Now, after the public comment period, after he presented, the planning committee officials, hearing comments from people that got up, they had concerns of the people that got up of what uses could and could not be allowed. The planning board then responded, trying to suggest limitations on the property, and that's within their power, right? And they offered suggestion, hey, let's limit the use to just office and warehouse, no retail. The applicant wouldn't agree. His words were, I'm not going to. The more restrictions you put on the property, the more it's devalued. And then one of the board members said, this is in the same conversation, flex space. That could be anything and everything. They're so open. The planning director said, it's up to the applicant. So I guess think about what this means. The planning board was shown this small, low-impact development, but you're being asked to approve a conditional use permit for 3 large buildings, 2 storage buildings that are 30-foot by 30-foot, 120-foot long, another building that's 150 feet long by 40 feet, and we don't know what the use is. And something else that's significant that I didn't understand until after that meeting, the conditional use permit goes with the land. The applicant can sell tomorrow, the conditional use stays with the property. And that's described in section 7 of your ordinance. So, this is an ever-changing set of structures that I'm not even sure, since it's a concept plan, is that actually how it's going to be built? What's it really going to be used for? If it's going to be used for an interior designer, then that's the use. If it's going to be used for commercial, that is about everything, encompasses every business I've ever worked for. I worked for an industrial steel manufacturer in Rogers. I guess we fit that definition of industrial use in your, so we're afraid we don't want something like that right next door to us. So to us, this conditional use permit's a blank check for anything and everything, and that's what our neighbors are going to have to live next to. On traffic safety, I want to touch on just a couple of things, and I'm almost done, and I'll turn it over to someone that can speak better. Yes, there are about 12,000 vehicles that pass the Highway 45, Covington, Fox Hunter intersection every day. And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of vehicle turns and highway crossings each day at that intersection. And something that you might not know, Hunter Road Fox Center Road, it's used by hundreds of vehicles a day. At least half of the residents of Barrington Park use it. We've got 134 houses. All the residents in Ridgemont Estates, they've got about 30 houses. All the residents on Fox Hunter. And then it's used even more during the school year. 9 months out of the year, it's a really popular cut-through for parents that live in Covington, north of Covington, out toward Goshen, to cut through Fox Hunter, taking their kids to St. Joe's School. And I know about this because I get complaints as the POA president, hey, why are all these cars going fast through Barrington Park? Well, I dug into it. Yeah, it's a cut-through. So there is a lot of traffic. And then Covington Park's a major cut-through for Vandergrift Elementary and for McNair. And my point will come clear here in a second. It's a major cut-through. And the way the schools were designed for buses and cars to leave, you go into those schools off of Mission, and you come out of those schools after you drop the kids off on the back of the neighborhood. So you've either got to go around through Covington and get to this intersection that we're talking about, or you go through several busy lights and such. So there's a lot of activity. This intersection, it's dangerous. One of the people at the April 30th meeting said, in their words, the elevation of the road 45 goes up. There's a blind spot there. You can't see the traffic coming down. It's so dangerous to exit. The new commercial driveway on 45 would sit even further up, to the east, up the hill with even less warning to see what's coming at you. Now, from my experience, just the other day I went to the fireworks store, as they were talking about, a fireworks tent, and I parked on Fox Hunter Road. I didn't go through the main parking, but I parked on Fox Hunter Road about where the north entrance or the east entrance would be for the storage buildings. Parked there, shopped for fireworks, got back in my car, and when I was pulling out and looking to the left on Fox Hunter, man, it was tough to see. It was tough to see a line of sight of what was coming, and of course people are going fast everywhere. So I think that poses a dangerous safety hazard. Now, the applicant didn't perform a traffic study, and his engineer's sightline math assumed that Fox Center had a speed limit of 25 miles an hour. Well, a planning board member corrected him, and he said, hey, that road's unposted. He said, if it's unposted, it's 40. You won't have your sight lines by this math. Well, the engineer admitted during the planning meeting, well, he said, I'll have to double check that math. Well, the corrected math was never presented before the vote to approve the conditional use permit. So to me, that's something that is a hazard hanging out there. Then also, I just want to point this out on that planning meeting. I believe it was the planning committee chairman. He described, he said, yeah, there's 12,000 cars a day going down 45. It's a busy intersection. Someday there's going to be a light there at Fox Hunter and Covington and Highway 45. And that's not our concern. That is the highway department's concern. That's a state concern. And I just want to point out that, one of the criteria for approving a conditional use permit is, will it cause any public safety hazards? And nowhere in the ordinance does it say, well, if you're at a state highway, you don't have to consider public safety hazards. So just wanted to point that out. And I appreciate your guys' time, and Justin Kasuli will pick up where I've left off. Any questions for me or anything?
Well, let's go ahead and finish what the appellate wants to say, and we'll go to questions.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Quorum Court. Appreciate the chance to speak for a few minutes. I'm excited because I didn't know that I was going to get to see the moonrise tonight from this beautiful vista. So it's good to be here. I just want to follow up on a couple of Kirby's comments, specifically related to the operative ordinance, because they're the rules of the game. They're the rules that the planning board is supposed to abide by, the rules that the quorum court is supposed to abide by. They're the rules that the property owners, when they buy their homes in this area, assume will be operative and complied with. So I'm speaking specifically of the 7 criteria in the act for a conditional use. So just to set the table, the subject property is designated or zoned as agricultural residential, single-family residential. That's its current state, as is every property around it. Just to be clear, there isn't a single commercial property that borders the subject property right now. It's all residential or zoned agricultural, and it's a field. So that's the lay of the land, right? So the first, in order to change that, in order for the property owner and the developer to use it for something other than agricultural residential, they need to have this conditional use permit granted. And it's for a conditional use, a conditioned use, something that is defined, something that is understandable, not flex space. That's open-ended, and this was discussed at length at the planning board meeting, and you could refer back to that meeting for a lot of questions and concerns about what is flex space, what does that mean? So that's what gets us into the conditional use paradigm. Of the 7 criteria, one right off the bat is a notice requirement that the budding property owners receive notice of the application and the hearing. One of the property owners, St. Joseph Catholic Church, never received notice. So right off the bat, there's a defect in the notice requirement. The cemetery is not. St. Joseph Catholic Cemetery is literally across the street from the subject property. Okay, the St. Joseph Catholic Cemetery is literally 25 feet across the street from this property, and the church is located a quarter mile down the road. I'm a parishioner there and a former member of the parish council, and the operations manager, Mr. Paul Warren, who submitted one of the appeals, couldn't be here tonight. He's traveling, but he did authorize me to speak on their behalf. And so I contend that there's a defect in the notice requirement. That's the first problem. Next is this issue of adequate utilities, roads, drainage, and other public services available or adequate, or will be made available or adequate if the use is granted. Again, without knowing what the use is, how can the applicant contend that they've satisfied that requirement? The discussion from the planning board meeting and a little bit of what you've heard tonight is that the use matters. It matters. One of the buildings is what I would call like a strip center. It's 3 storefronts, 3 commercial storefronts is how it's been pitched. Those things could be anything and everything that constitute a commercial, if the cup is granted, that constitute a commercial use. So we don't know what the impact would be. We don't know how many customers there would be, how many employees there would be. The applicants asserted something like 15 employees total if there was maximum occupancy, but that's just an assertion. The same argument could be made with things like the leach field for septic, runoff, on and on. The next is that the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area. And here is the biggest issue, which is, again, is merely an assertion by the applicant and the developer, who admittedly has a financial interest in commercially developing the lot, that it's compatible with the surrounding area. Yet there is not a single commercial property that abuts the subject property. There are over 1,300 homeowners in 6 different subdivisions, dozens of which are here tonight on a summer Sunday and the week of 4th of July, who have emailed you, who have petitioned you, and who are waiting eagerly to speak to you and to say this is not a compatible use with the surrounding area. Why should one person who has a pecuniary interest in the property, why should their assertion carry the weight over dozens or hundreds of surrounding homeowners who say, no, it isn't a compatible use? How is a commercial property, a commercial use with retail stores on it that could be anything and everything, in the midst, bullseye in the middle of all these residential homes, a compatible use that is currently zoned as residential agricultural? The burden is on the seller developer to demonstrate that these criteria have been satisfied, not on the homeowners, surrounding homeowners, to rebut it. The next thing, the last several criteria are very similar. The conditional, the establishment, maintenance, operation, conditional use will not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. Kirby spoke a little bit about the traffic. The same thing, this conversation came up at the planning board meeting. Could this someday, since the cup transmits with the property, conveys with the property, could it someday be a Casey's gas station? Yeah, it could. How about a Club Car Wash? Yeah, it could. Could Domino's Pizza? Yeah, it could. What about what it is right now? Could these three spaces, could they be, there'll be an interior designer or an accountant? Well, that sounds lovely. Could they be a vape shop? Yeah, they could. Could it be a liquor store? Yeah. Could it be a Cupid's adult bookstore and lingerie? Yeah, it could. 25 feet from a church cemetery. And hundreds of feet from all of these residents. I'm one of the residents, I'm 2280 North Covington Park Boulevard. I'm one of the residents that lives within the 300-foot notification area. So my property line is a few hundred feet from this. Again, without knowing what the use is, without it being conditioned, then a flex retail space could be anything and everything, a flex commercial space. What it is right now, or what it's proposed to be in order to achieve the approval for the cup, is not what it might be in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years from now. And you can bet that the developer, if they're given an opportunity, the future owner, to sell it to a Casey's gas station when they have both this property on the corner and the adjacent property, 5 acres of land, that they'll do so. Why wouldn't they? I would. Because they'll be gone. But the homeowners, many of whom are here tonight, will continue to live in these communities, to raise our families there and take our children to school. And it's not acceptable for us. We don't get to pull up stakes and say, well, you know, so it is. Now it's a vape shop, or now it's a Club Car Wash, or whatever, smack dab in the middle of this rural residential area. The point that I want to leave you with is that the act that this court passed constitutes the objective rules of the game. And that is against which both the planning board and this court should evaluate the application, which is deficient in at least 5 or 6 of those 7 criteria. The applicant has failed to meet their burden of demonstrating that they've satisfied those criteria. And those are the rules of the game. All of these extraneous concerns are not relevant. Sick mother-in-laws, while terrible situations, is not relevant to whether or not the applicant has met their burden of satisfying their criteria to change the zoning of this subject property from agricultural, single-family residential to commercial. And I suggest to this quorum court that they have not. And I urge you to reject this application and overturn the planning board's recommendation. Thank you very much. And we have one more speaker on behalf of the appellant.
Not yet.
Thank you, Justin. Good evening, members. Mr. Chairman, my name is Matt Cooper. I live at 3746 East Chadwick Drive in Barrington Park. Just to give you a frame of reference, you saw the pictures, but my back fence parallels Fox Hunter Road, directly parallels Fox Hunter Road. So my backyard is literally 30 feet. It's across the street from Fox Hunter Road. It's across the street, Fox Hunter Road, 30 feet from the property in question. So we're right there. And I know exactly what impact approval of this CUP will have, because there's no better example than what we have right now going on and what we have going on at this time every year, and that's the fireworks stand. The fireworks stand is almost literally in my backyard right now. I shared some pictures with Kirby, which I think he hopefully shared with you guys. You can see it from my backyard. You can see it from my patio. You can see it from when you're sitting in my living room watching TV. If you're on my patio, you can hear the customers coming and going, and cars coming and going, and everything else. So while it impacts everybody, as Justin laid out, it impacts me, my family, my immediate neighbors significantly. And I'm going to come back to the fireworks stand. I want to tell you a little bit about how we wound up in Barrington Park. My wife and I bought our house in November of 2014. I was 47 years old at the time. It was the first house that my wife and I ever purchased. We came into the game of home ownership relatively late in life because for the 25 years preceding that, I was on active duty in the United States Marine Corps, and the majority of my time was in places like Iraq and Afghanistan and other areas where we would all agree nobody would want to buy a house. So we were very excited when I transitioned out of the Marine Corps after 25 years to be resettled in Northwest Arkansas, and especially in Fayetteville. And we had to rent when we got here, but my wife spent months with a realtor. We had a great realtor, Paige Crockett, looking at houses. You know, as soon as the house would come up, the two of them would go look at it. And we spent several months doing that in the city. And the day she went to 3746, or let me back up. My wife found this house before the realtor did. She called her up and said, I want to see this house. They immediately went to the house. My wife called me. I was working for Walmart at the time, and she told me, she said, I found the house. This is the one we want. And she was adamant. And I said, if this is the one we want, I don't need to see it. Tell Paige to offer them what they're asking. So we offered the asking price that day, bought the house, and we've lived there ever since. Very, very excited. My kids were young at the time to move in there. Barrington Park offers everything that anybody could want for a neighborhood. A neighborhood community, safe streets, a swimming pool, but mostly an environment that Justin just described that is surrounded by neighbors and neighborhoods and people doing the same thing all day together. You know, I listened to Mr. Parker, and I know he has an agenda, but I listened to him say that this is going to improve the value of homes around it, and I saw some of you actually nodding your head as if you were in agreement with him. I would ask you, please look at the pictures that I provided coming into this meeting, because what I will tell you is this, quite simply, if my wife had come to look at this house in July with the fireworks stand there, knowing that it was going to be there 365 days a year, she would have walked away immediately. She wouldn't have called me. We would have never bought that house. And since this whole thing has come up, everybody who's come to my house, I've taken them to my backyard or my patio, and I've asked them, if that were commercial enterprise right there, because when I say right there, I mean right there, what would you think about it? To a person, they've all said, I would never buy this house. And my question to you is, would you? If you woke up tomorrow and found out that the property adjacent to you, that had been there for however many years you and your family had been in your home, had now been rezoned to become commercial, would you be okay with that? And the only reason they could give you that it was rezoned was because, well, it's got to be rezoned, otherwise it won't sell. Is that a reason? Again, we would have never purchased a house. And I told some folks I was not going to bring this up, but it's been brought up, so I feel like for personal reasons I have to address this. I was going to attend the planning meeting on April 30th. I did not attend it. I planned to speak, actually, and I did not attend it. The reason I didn't attend it is my 84-year-old mother passed away 2 hours before that meeting started. She passed away from dementia, and she was living in a memory care unit in Springdale. She'd been up there. She'd been in the memory unit for the previous 2 years of her life as dementia ravaged her and took her life. I know exactly what it's like, and it troubles me that it could be used to tug at the heartstrings of people to somehow suggest this is a good idea, because it shouldn't be. That's all I've got, pending any questions you have for me. Thank you.
Any questions for the appellant? J.P. Massengale.
Well, I'd like to start with a question to Mr. Atta, if I can. So if this CUP is approved tonight and the applicant comes back with something much different during the large-scale development, what would happen?
If you read the conditions, one of them that says any modification, any changes, it requires another CUP application or an amendment to the existing CUP. So that's one thing. So we just approved back in March something similar to this on Highway 412, where the south of that property was a subdivision and the west of it was a church.
Okay, so if we approve the CUP and they come back with something much different,
And
then...
they have to reapply and amend or reapply entirely.
Okay. Yeah, I heard a lot of concerns about what this might be other than what's actually been presented. So
You still have the chance to add conditions, you can make it either or. So.
okay. So Matt, the last guy that just spoke, I heard you say quite a bit about a fireworks stand that was considerable nuisance to you. And are you telling me you would rather continue to have a fireworks stand than
No,
to have a business?
please, let me clear that up. The fireworks stand is a nuisance. We hear it, we see it, we live with it every single day. However, let's be clear, we all know that the fireworks stand is there as a part of the celebration of our great nation. And we know that it's going to be leaving in a few short days, which makes it acceptable to us and to everyone around us. I mean, we know it comes at a certain time, a certain day of the year, and it leaves. On July 5th, they'll be packing up that tent, and things will go away. So yes, it is a nuisance, but again, I'm just using it as an example to you that any commercial use, and I don't care A, B, C building and, interior decorators, or it doesn't matter what it is. It changes the dynamic, as Justin explained it much better than I could, of all the neighborhoods surrounding that piece of property.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand why having a interior decorator business that's probably gonna close at whatever the operating hours are would be a problem, a bigger problem than having.
Have you seen the pictures that I submitted? And if not, I'll try to get them resubmitted. I mean, having a storage shed, in 30 feet behind your backyard where it used to be either a residential house or a field, it makes a difference to the palatability of your home, to you, to your family, and to a future potential buyer. So we're talking about any commercial use. And again, back to the other question, we don't know what's going to be put in there.
Right. What would you propose to be there if not this?
Well, here's what I'm not proposing anything. Again, Justin said this better than I can. I don't have to. I'm not up here to defend it. They're supposed to defend it. What I'm saying is, it was zoned for a specific function. Why are we changing it? Is the only reason that you can give us you're changing is because that's the only way it'll sell? That's not a justification to rezone this property. I'm sorry.
So is there a use you would be acceptable with other than raw land?
Yeah, a residential house, and I don't accept the fact that that's impossible to do. I don't buy that.
Okay, and it's already been stated that a residential house won't perk?
Well, then it is what it is, and it's a piece of property that could be sold in whole,
Have you or anybody that you know offered to purchase this property?
I'm sorry?
Have yourself or anybody that you know that's opposed to this offered to purchase this property and leave it as a bare lot?
I can't answer that, I don't know.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any other questions for the appellant? J.P. Lemon.
Thank you, Chair. I know we've talked about there's no commercial businesses touching the property, but There's a fire station right up the road. How far? There's a church right up the road. How far? That joins it. And if you go the other way, ain't there a sign shop the other direction? And ain't there there's another building down there that they're building that's kind of this same type building that's already being built back toward town. Is that correct? Is it a half a mile? So the fire station will be on the other side of this property to the east of it, is that correct? On 45 Highway?
I'll be nice and say I helped build the traffic slide we submitted. No, there was 0.52 miles, first commercial property across from Vandergriff, and I think it's 0.47 miles is where the sign shop Rapology you talked about, and those buildings, that Rapology is not the first building, there's another one that's soon closer.
That's right, but all that's commercial, is that correct?
Those are, yes, half mile away, yeah.
So how many commercial business would you say was from 265 to where this is going to be? How many commercial businesses are on 45, counting the school, counting Harps, counting the bank, counting the tire shop, counting?
I wouldn't count the shopping center at the corner outside the intersection. If you look and measure along the road, there is the end of that shopping center ends at McNair Middle School. If you're going to count that front lawn of McNair and Vandergriff, if you count that as commercial, it's there. And then there's a neighborhood bank that's down at the next light. But then there's nothing until you go farther down like you were describing. There's no fire station there. The closest
Nob Hill, is it Nob Hill or Goshen? Goshen's got a fire station on top of the hill.
It's a mile and a half down the road on the right.
Yeah, but that commercial business is further out than what this is already. Is that correct?
Those are much farther out than this, yes.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, thank you there.
Any other questions for the appellate? J.P. Koger. Yes, for the appellate. No? Questions for the appellate? No. Okay. Any other questions for the appellate? Okay, we'll move on to discussions with the members of the court. J.P. Koger.
Okay, thank you very much. So I went to this property, and I think it would be hard for the applicant to find a place that was more incompatible than this place is. And I wanted, so a lot has been said tonight, but I want to focus on this criteria that we're required to consider under our zoning ordinance. Excuse me. And so I want to talk about that and why I think this is not a good thing to do. I don't believe it's compatible with the neighborhood. I don't believe it's in harmony with the neighborhood. I think it will be detrimental to the safety, comfort, and general welfare of the surrounding area. I think it will harm the use and enjoyment of other property in the surrounding area for purposes that are already permitted. I believe it will substantially diminish and impair property values. I just don't see how it couldn't do that. I know if I lived there, I would think that would be the case. And I also believe that it will impede the normal and orderly development of the surrounding area for uses, again, that are already permitted in that zone when this use is not permitted in that zone. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, I do. So, again, as been stated, the members of this court is required to evaluate the application based on specific criteria, not on the basis of general opposition alone, which is, again, what I have done and what I think others have done. I disagree a bit with my colleague. Compatibility with the surrounding area, I think it is compatible. As been discussed, there's already commercial businesses within a half mile. There's a commercial self-storage facility 0.35 miles from this land. There is a commercial service firm on Chadwick Drive, which is adjacent to the boundary area. City of Fayetteville's wastewater treatment facility is 0.4 miles from this parcel. And there's already a flex-based commercial development on Washington County Road 349, which is about a half mile away. So there's considerable commercial already in the area. This isn't the first commercial coming into the area. And I believe given that, it is compatible with that area. As far as traffic safety, again, I think what's been identified by the engineering record documents approximately 30 additional vehicle movements per day over what's there. That's very minimal, modest of what's already there. And I'm sure it's very less than what the fireworks stand produces, why it's there for that limited amount of time. On the site distance and in the engineering analysis, they've documented that, we know Highway 45 is 45 miles an hour, and it meets the minimum site distance of 500 feet for left turns, 430 feet for right turns, which is required under AASHTO guidelines for the Highway 45 access points. On Fox Hunter Road, which is a posted 25 miles per hour, I personally found the posted sign on that road, is 280 feet for left turns, 240 feet for right turns. Plus, there's a stop sign at the end, which gives you additional management of that traffic. And I'm not seeing anything to contradict any of these engineering analysis challenging those findings, other than simple opinion. I know I heard and I've seen between the emails and watching the planning board meeting on the April meeting, there were concerns about building height and lighting. I think this conditional use permits provides more restricted use of a building being built there through the LDS and the lighting. Realistically, somebody could come in, buy the property, put a barn 6 stories high. It's agriculture. It's not even going to come through the cut process. They can put any lights on that property they want on it. You have no control over it at all. Somebody could come in and put a hog farm there, put a chicken farm there. Now you're going to have semi-chicken trucks coming down around Fox Trail on those roads. I think that increases the safety hazard. I don't think anything this business is coming increases the safety hazard that's already there. It doesn't provide any additional safety hazard. So, conclusion, based on the criteria we have I believe the proposed use is compatible with the surrounding area, which already includes commercial use within the notification boundary. The traffic impact, the added traffic impact is minimal and supported by documented engineering analysis that has been provided on the record. The site distances at all access points meets applicable AAHTO standards. The CUP conditions imposes enforceable restrictions providing greater protection to the neighbors than what I can go put on there from an agricultural standpoint, quite honestly. And I don't believe the proposed will not endanger the public health and safety or injure neighboring properties' enjoyment or impede the orderly development of the surrounding area. Additional discussion, let's see. JP Stafford.
Thank you, Chair. A couple questions for Sam, or Dr. Atta, sorry. A little similar to the question that JP Massengill asked, but different. This is about once the 3 structures, if this is approved and the 3 structures are built, which if it's approved, that's what has to be built unless.
Yeah,
goes through
it's
the CUP
no
process,
doubt.
but-
The engineer
Right.
is here. He can
But-
also speak to that if you want to.
Well, hang on, I have a different question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My question is, if it's approved and those 3 buildings are built, then if they want to change something on the property subsequent to that, that triggers a new CUP process and a new public hearing and a new vote. They
Yes,
can't-
ma'am.
they-
It's gonna be either
Yeah.
applying for an amendment or
Right.
altogether, and that process has to reset again.
Right, so the idea that that once we approve a CUP, that they can then subsequently just build anything is false.
This is it, ABC, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what they need to build.
Right, okay. Another thing that came up, we have special rules in our code that govern sexually oriented businesses, do we not?
We do have
Yes.
business land use, and
Mhm.
we have a definition for it. And I guess
Right.
Mr. LaKirby, he mentioned it, and we mentioned this during the planning board, so we don't have specifically, you can do this, you cannot do this. So remember, we're not the city of Fayetteville. We
Right.
don't have aggressive planning. We don't have
Right.
zones for specific use. We either have this or a conditional use.
Mhm. Oh, okay, sorry, I thought he was coming to tell you something.
Oh,
But we do have this specifically mentioned in our code.
We do have, let me see. We didn't have specific for like, you mean flex spaces or anything like?
Restrictions on sexually oriented businesses. I
We
remember
do have
seeing that.
commercial land use, a use that
Yeah.
is connected with like, or furthers an ongoing profit-making activity, including but not limited to the use of land for the primary purpose of buying, selling, trading of merchandise or services, office spaces, retail shops, and industrial units. So that's our definition for like commercial use.
For commercial use, okay, all right. Thank you. I went and drove around this property and the other property that we just heard a little earlier today, both. And I made some notes on, to me, just driving up Mission Boulevard, I saw little commercial properties dotted through there. There was the Priority Bank at Star Drive, right there at the corner, about 0.3 miles away. The opposite direction going outbound to the east, I saw the Rover Oaks Pet Resort about 0.3 miles away. There's a little kind of a shopping, strip area right there. Had 3 businesses in it: Best Friends Animal Hospital, Sensational Skills Therapy, and the Watkins Family Health and Counseling Clinic. I measured that about 0.6 miles away. My husband mentioned that when he was a kid, he took tap dancing lessons there. And that must have been about 50 years ago. So that must have been the 1970s, which I believe would mean that that little shopping center predates all the subdivisions in that area by quite a few years. Then there's some storage units at Oakland Zion Road about 0.7 miles away. And then beyond that is Rapology, 1.1 miles. White Lotus Salon, about the same distance. So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 8 businesses within a mile of this location. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Yeah, the court approved Rapology like a few years back.
J.P. Pond.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to just kind of make a comment on where I'm at on this. I've got to receive the input of all these individuals who've bought homes in these neighborhoods, many of which, or who, they did it with the idea that they were buying a home in an area that was zoned for agri or single-family dwelling. And many of them that I've heard from would not have bought that. They would have not made that purchase for that. Was going to be their forever home, with the idea that in this neighborhood, not a mile away, not really even a half a mile away, this is a neighborhood that was going to be a place, a residential area. And yes, you come up with this notion that, and no farmer would do this, of course. It's zoned agri or single-family dwelling. There's no place there that's appropriate for, or would be a good place or a good condition for commercial poultry or commercial hog farm. That's just not a notion that would be brought up by anyone that's ever been a farmer. And I'm just saying that because that's just not. It's just not feasible. It's not even any kind of way of looking at it. So I'll be voting no on this, but I can see both sides. Thank you.
J.P. Massengill.
So listening to all the arguments against this, I didn't hear anything about safety. Didn't hear anything about noise, lighting. As far as traffic, it's on a major highway. It looks like they've got multiple points of entry and exit. Don't see any concern with that. The biggest argument is compatibility. Compatibility doesn't mean or incompatibility doesn't mean that it's not the same as the surrounding properties. It means that it would inhibit the uses that are around it. What has been proposed here, I do not see where that would inhibit the enjoyment of the residential properties around it. So I do not see it as being incompatible. Another thing I would like to point out, the CUP that we approved before this was a home-based business. You know, it's getting harder and harder for home-based businesses to expand without having a place to expand. Would say that we need more spaces like this to allow businesses to have places to park equipment and to operate. So I'll be voting yes.
J.P. Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to take this time to apologize to our county judge and to our county attorney because this group, we succumbed to a political group that came in, put a lot of pressure on us, and we didn't do our job of zoning. We should have completed the zoning. We should have been adults about it and said, listen, everything on highways between one city and another city, if there is any closeness left at all, are going to be subject to commercial growth. And to think it's not is wrong. You know, everybody says, well, I've lived here this amount of time. I've lived here for 75 years. And in 1962, my father bought a farm halfway between Prairie Grove and Farmington. And the gentleman that sold it to him said, well, son, you know that'll be commercial property one day. Yeah, no way, no way. I'm buying a whole farm and I'm gonna live on it. And, you know, and sure enough, Mr. Schaefer knew what he was talking about back in 1962. Said all these highways will be commercial. Now, he was just a good old farmer, but he knew it. We know it now. All you folks know it too. You know that the land on the highway between one town and another with hundreds of thousands of people on it every day, commercial people are going to want to buy it. The gentleman, and thank you very much for your service, sir. I appreciate you. Your house will be very valuable. You don't recognize it right now, but it will. It will be very valuable being right on the road. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And so, you know, it's our fault that y'all are experiencing this because had we done what we should have done last year and created that this was a commercial area and named it as a commercial area, then you would have said, well, I knew it was a commercial area when I bought it. And of course, I'll tell you what happens when we declare something a commercial area, your prices are gonna go way up. They are. Your house will be a bargain. I mean, we'll make you money. It'll make you money. No, trust me, I've seen it, and you've seen it too if you just look at it. But anyway, I just think we need to apologize to the county judge and the county attorney and Dr. Ada because we had the opportunity to do it and we didn't do it. And so I think that's something we'll have to do in the future. To y'all, I apologize, but I don't want to fight with you about different things, but I will say this. What is the big gray building just east of that, one up to the next street and you go up the hill? That's the most beautiful area of Fayetteville I think there is. And you see forever on that, in that valley. But when I came back down and when I went up, a big gray building had 3 great big commercial garage doors on it. I'm just curious, I'm just curious about what it is. It's not part of my decision.
This isn't a conversation.
But anyway.
Please finish your
Yeah,
statement.
back to the chairman. So, sir, thank you very much. At least I got it off my chest. And I think we need to work on it in the year coming. Thank you.
J.P. Koger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. First off, the gentleman's house is not on the road. It's in a residential subdivision. And the place, this site is probably from here to where Mr. Sism is sitting, it's probably where the next house is. I mean, but there's a fence there, but it's very close, very close. It's not on the road. And these other commercial things that were mentioned, they're on farther down either way. From what I saw when I went there. And now I have a question for Dr. Atta. What exactly would have to change? Say it got passed and then the applicant made a change later. To what kind of changes would?
Any change that like pertains to the condition and the use.
What about the buildings? Like if he wanted, if it turned out there was going to be a car audio shop there, or
Same idea. So like that's the use is gonna change. But when we approve like flex spaces, remember we approved multiple of them. That would be like number 7 maybe or more. So you're approving the business and the building. What's inside it, it might change, but like you're approving the use of the land itself.
Thank you.
Based on the definition we have.
J.P. Ecke.
Thank you for recognizing me. I call the question.
There is no motion on the table.
Well,
Do you have
I'd
a
like to make a
motion?
motion that we end discussion and we approve the conditional use permit for, what is it, what was number 6?
Fox Lane,
Yeah,
Fox Hunter Lane. Fox, yeah, thank you.
Fox Hunter Landing Project. And this is on first reading.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So you need to actually, yeah, so we need a reading, so let's have the first reading, please, sir.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Fox Hunter Landing Project.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to suspend the rules and advance this to the second reading.
Dennis? Yeah? That was you? Okay, thank you. I'm like you, I'm hard to hear. Okay, so we have a motion by J.P. Ecke to suspend the rules and move it to the second reading, seconded by J.P. Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That passes.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Fox Hunter Landing Project.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and advance this to the third and final reading.
So I have a motion by J.P. Ecke to move it to the third and final reading, seconded by J.P. Dennis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That passes. Third and final reading, please.
An ordinance ratifying a conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Fox Hunter Landing Project.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I turned off my mic. I'd like to make a motion that we pass the Fox Hunter Landing Project CUP.
So I have a motion by J.P. Ecke to pass the ordinance ratifying the conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Fox Hunter Landing Project, seconded by J.P. Dennis. Any additional discussion? Citizens comment. Okay, so for citizens comment, line up. If you're opposed, line up to my left. If you're supportive, line up to the right. And then that way we'll fund you through. We got 12 minutes, right? 3 minutes each, total of 12 minutes.
Okay, so I want to clear up this,
You repeat your name and address,
Kirby
please.
McAllister, 1803 North Hartford Drive. So I want to clear up this issue of, or question of, when do you have to go back and have the CUP reviewed? So he's going to put in a two storage buildings, used for storage, right? and he's going to have a
Sam,
interior,
this is citizen comment. This isn't question and
and he's
answer.
gonna have an interior decorator. Okay, he's gonna build the buildings. Okay, a year from now, the buildings stay the same. Now a vape shop moves in and displaces the interior designer. It doesn't have to go back to a conditional use permit. The buildings are there. The conditional use permit was for commercial uses. That okay? So he's not bound to put in an interior designer and two-story buildings. These could be used for anything and everything, commercial uses.
Thank you. For support, no, I'm gonna alternate that way, okay? Thank you.
Good evening again. My name's Cal Tackett. I'm here to speak in support of this project. I feel that communities grow when businesses serve local families. This project makes productive use of the property suited for this development, such as the other properties that are nearby, as all of y'all discussed tonight. Some are more nearby than I think what we even realize. I think the storage facility housing, I mean, I looked at that when they had it for sale a few years ago. I think it's a couple hundred units right there, and it gets a lot of traffic, and it does really good. And I know at one point we had 2 veterinarian clinics down the road. I used to live kind of behind one of them. In fact, part of our property did adjoin part of that commercial property, and that was no problem for us. I've always lived in Fayetteville. I've lived here my whole life. You know, my family came over here. I'll keep this short because I don't enjoy personally seeing the moon tonight. My family's missing me, but since 1959, and we lived in all areas of Fayetteville, and we love Washington County. We own properties that are some within closer distance to here, I mean, an 1/8 of a mile from here. Some of those properties have made my family their living their whole life, and you know, we've always gotten along quite well with the community around us. You know, as my grandma always said, which we're very fortunate to have her. She's actually just celebrated her 74th wedding anniversary with my grandpa, and we're so proud of that. She's very good at real estate, and she often would say when people would have a complaint about a situation like this, because we would move over time. You know, as a kid, I know my parents did as well, and as she accumulated and sold real estate, you can't just complain about it. If you want to complain about it, then you got to buy it. And this property, in my opinion, is, I mean, it couldn't be more picture perfect when you take into the account of the other properties that are up the road. And then not to mention, but just really quick, as far as existing situations within the property, these people have been there since the 70s. I've not asked my family, but I'm sure we probably know them as well. And long before any of these subdivisions were there, which I respect, and these subdivisions are probably superior to the subdivisions that I lived in a half mile down the road. I don't know. But we still had the commercial properties next to us, and we had probably density-wise just the same. So I'm not seeing the difference here. It's just, I believe this type of thoughtful growth strengthens a community, supporting small businesses, creating jobs, expanding services, and following a careful planning process that has already carefully been reviewed and approved. It also respects property owners who have invested in our community and met established standards. When a project provides public benefit, it deserves our support. Thank you all very much for your time and service to our community, and I appreciate you all staying here so late to hear this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Deborah McLeod, and I am a resident at 3918 East Caston Drive. I've lived in that house for the last 6 years. I moved down here from Kansas City and brought my mother, who is now 89 years old and probably needs memory care, but she lives in the house with me. I'm a retired nurse of 40 years. And I would like to address the statement you made earlier about you heard no safety issues. I'm here to tell you I'm a grandparent of 2 boys, one of which that went to Vandergrift for the last 5 years. And I used to work in the emergency room, And I can tell you, I've seen multiple accidents at that crossover going across East Mission off of Fox Hunter into Covington. The buses trying to turn out of there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there is major traffic. But that is really not my biggest complaint about the traffic. I think that the property values, I worked for 60 years to be able to afford to buy the house that I live in now. And I could sell it tomorrow and put my mom in memory care, but I've chosen to stay in that house and take care of her and keep her there. And it makes me very sad to hear that you all have made these decisions without looking at all of the people that live in this neighborhood. And Ms. Koger, I thank you very much for your response to
Only
us.
address the chair, please.
Excuse me?
Only address the chair,
Oh,
please.
I thank Ms. Koger for her
I understand.
response.
Rules of the body is
I
address the
appreciate
chair.
that. I also, want to say that the entrance of our Barrington Park is right up Fox Hunter. And if you ever have done a site visit and driven in that way, you'd see the beautiful area that they've created. And honestly, those of us that use that probably will never use it again. We'll probably end up having, because of the traffic issues, to go into the other way to get into the subdivision. And I just really wish you guys would take a step back and think about all the things that have been said tonight before you give your vote. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. In support?
Hey, good evening. My name is Mark Moore. I live at 928 Shrewsbury. It's also on the east side of town there. And I'm speaking tonight in support of the development. While I deeply respect our neighbors' desire to preserve the current character of this area, I believe we must also respect the rights of property owners. Land ownership comes with the reasonable expectation to develop and use one's property in a way that is safe, responsible, and compliant with extensive array of requirements and guidelines. Indefinitely restricting this parcel from any low-impact commercial use, despite its location at a state highway intersection, places an unfair burden on the current landowner. The Planning Board has already recognized that this specific proposal strikes a fair balance. That balance honors the owner's property rights while placing strict protective limits on operations to ensure we remain good neighbors. I believe we must also remember this approval does not grant a blank check. It comes with strict operational limits and mandatory future approvals from the Arkansas Department of Health and a large-scale development review. Previously, the Planning Board thoroughly vetted these facts and voted unanimously, 5-0, in favor. I respectfully ask this quorum court to trust that rigorous process, honor the balance that has been struck, and to uphold the Planning Board's decision tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelby Hefflin, live at 1857 North Barrington Drive. The one thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands on the quorum court and the chair understands, the biggest concern is the use. Everybody, the Army was kind enough to PCS me to my address in Barrington Drive 18 years ago. You can't live in Northwest Arkansas, Benton or Washington County, either one, and not see growth and development, to your point. But the growth and development is the use of the property. I'm not that terribly opposed to even it being commercial. Now my neighbors are going to choke me for saying that. My issue is the use, the descriptive use, so that I see it's somewhat of a foregone conclusion with this body, potentially from a vote standpoint, but the thing I will charge you with is follow that. We all have jobs and work. We don't have time to chase this around all the time. Following the process was not followed. We studied the process. We got plenty of attorneys in the neighborhood. It was not followed truly. So we're going to grant this, it's going to go. Our concern is the use. I don't even care that much about the building, it's the use. I don't think it's going to be a dentist or a hairdresser, things like that. That might be welcome, to your point about commercial growth. The challenge is it also could be a vape shop or a sex shop or whatever else we want to put in there. There are things like that that you can't, that's the charge I ask of this body when they come back and they want to amend or they want to do a new CUP. Will you be sitting in these chairs? Will we have the energy to do this again? I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're down to a minute 43 total time left. So I have a motion to suspend the rules and extend the citizen comment time for an additional 15 minutes. I have it by J.P. Pond, seconded by J.P. Koger. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. So all those in favor, raise your hand. For those in favor of suspending the rules and 15 more minutes, raise your hand. Yeah, okay. All those opposed? That fails because it's 2/3, right? That requires 2/3 vote, so that fails. Ma'am, you have a minute 43.
I'm Raylyn Hillhouse. I'm a resident of Barrington Park. I'm also an attorney. I've studied what the CUP would entail compared to the ordinance because of how it's written. It really can be anything and everything. There's nothing to make as Dr. Ada confirmed, there's nothing to make them come back to this process if they do the change of use within these 13,200 square feet of building that's within a half mile where there is no commercial use. That means we could be facing Domino's, we could be seeing any type of wholesale use. It could be a distributor, there could be a micro data center, because even those could fit into this size of building. The ordinance contemplates looking at a use, making sure is that compatible, because this use runs with the land. It's going to go on for our children, for our children's children, until someone changes it. So this can become everything. We have no problem with development there, but we want to know what it is. And if what it is that you're approving is a designer, is someone's self-storage for their own equipment, and their builder friend, write that into the CUP tonight. Restrict him to exactly what he said he would do. The purpose of the CUP ordinances are to protect the neighborhoods. Those are at least something that could be evaluated, 12 people, but these other possibilities could lead to hundreds of traffic and cars. You have a Domino's in there, you have a Subway sandwich, you get all the turning traffic. We already have the turning traffic there. We are face on with Covington Park, which is turning again in and out. It's very dangerous, as several people have testified, and I'm sure many more would testify if they were allowed and if this body wanted to hear.
All right, your time is up, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for this
So time is up for citizen comment. Thank everybody for your comments and your participation.
Excuse me, we spent an hour and 45 minutes talking about violin lessons, and now you had multiple neighbors lined up to oppose this, and they didn't get a chance to speak. There were, I believe, 100 some odd emails that reference noise.
Ma'am, you're out of order. So we did it through the correct process. There was a motion to extend time that failed. The process is 3 minutes per person for a total of 12 minutes. We've ended the 12 minutes. We have to end citizens' comment. So I have a motion on the floor by J.P. Ecke to pass the ordinance ratifying the conditional use permit recommended for approval by the planning board for the Fox Hunter Landing project.
No.
Seconded by J.P. Dennis.
Our elected officials are choosing not to.
Ma'am, we are conducting business here. If you cannot conduct business, please leave. So I have a motion to pass an ordinance ratifying the conditional use permit recommended for the approval by the planning board for the Fox Hunter Landing project by J.P. Ecke, seconded by J.P. Dennis. Mr. Allen, please call roll.
Justice Massengill. Yes. Justice Lyons.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Justice Ecke. Yes. Justice Dean. Yes. Justice Washington. No. Justice Koger. No. Justice Dennis. Yes. Justice Hires. Yes. Justice Rios Stafford. Yes. Justice Lemming? Yes. Justice Pond? No. Justice Wilson? Yes.
That passes. That ends our meeting tonight. We are adjourned.